Lux presents Hollywood. Lever Brothers Company, the makers of Lux Flakes, bring you the Lux Radio Theater, starring John Wayne, Mel Ferrer, and Marla Powers in She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. Ladies and gentlemen, your producer, Mr. William Keighley.
Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. The history of the United States Cavalry is one of daring, accomplishment, and romance. And in our play tonight, She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, we present a colorful drama from its glorious past. As our stars of the RKO screen success, we present one of the most popular actors of today, John Wayne. And co-starring with him is a very versatile artist, Mel Ferrer, and one of the most beautiful young actresses in Hollywood, Marla Powers. We wish to congratulate John Wayne on receiving the Photoplay Gold Medal Award as the most popular actor of the year, and hope he'll continue to appear in such fine American pictures as John Ford's great production of She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. We know the ladies have always been color conscious, whether it was yellow ribbons in their hair or gay flowered handkerchiefs in their pockets. And they've always depended on Lux Flakes to preserve these colors. And now Lux with color freshener is more wonderful than ever. Here's She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, adapted from the famous story by James Warner Bella, starring John Wayne as Captain Brittles, Mel Ferrer as Lieutenant Cohill, and Marla Powers as Olivia Dandridge.
It is 1876. Custer is dead. Custer and over 200 men of the 7th Cavalry. It's more than just a victory for the Indians. It is a signal to unite. Kiowa, Comanche, Arapaho, Sioux, and Apache, united in common war against the United States Cavalry. Our post is far to the south of the Little Bighorn. Fort Stark, isolated, kind of lonely for some, I guess. Anyway, this day started like 1,000 others before it, with Sergeant Quincannon standing in the doorway of my cabin.
Good morning, sir. 542, sir.
541.
And a lovely morning it is, Captain Darwin. Coated in blazes.
News?
As follows, sir. Mrs. Jameson had her baby. The stagecoach run from here to Sudrow's Wells has been discontinued. And there's a dispatch rider in from the Desert Patrol.
Well?
Private Mackenzie got himself shot, sir.
Boy or a girl for Mrs. Jameson?
A little trooper, sir.
When does the stage stop running?
Finished, sir. No more stagecoach, sir.
Mackenzie? Is he bad off?
No, sir.
Good man, Quincannon. He'll make corporal in 5 or 6 years.
Yes, sir.
Well, scratch another day off that calendar.
Just 6 more days, Captain Darwin. 6 more days and you're retired, sir.
I am well aware of that, Quincannon.
The Army will never be the same without you, sir.
The Army is always the same. The sun and the moon change, but the Army has no seasons.
But here you are in your prime, sir, and they're turning you out to pasture. That's a willful abuse of the taxpayers' money, sir.
The only tax you ever worried about was on whiskey.
I beg your pardon, sir.
I guess you have a reason for busting in, Mr. Cohill?
Sir, Sergeant Tyree's just entered the post. He's got half the Paradise River Patrol with him, sir, and the paymaster's coach.
Keep talking, mister.
Well, the paymaster's dead, sir. Gunshot wounds. Dead when Tyree found him, sir.
Where?
Near Red Butte, he said, sir. The money box is gone.
Gunshot wound.
Yes, sir. Though the coach is stuck full of arrows, too.
Well, tell Sergeant Tyree to report at once to Major Alshard's quarters. Take over morning inspection, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir.
And tell Tyree to bring one of those arrows with him.
Let me look at that arrow again. You sure it's not Kiowa, Captain?
No, and it's not Comanche nor Arapaho either, Major. Not with those color bands.
Sir, with your permission,
All right, Tyree, put in your 2 cents worth.
Well, sir, These airs with the yellow, white, and red bands are the signs of the Southern Cheyenne.
And I've seen bannocks and snakes with the same color.
Yes, sir, but looking at the plan mark, this mark right here, it's the sign of the dog.
And tell me, what in blazes would Cheyenne be doing this far south?
That ain't my department, sir.
Alert the post, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
And get some rest.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Nathan, any ideas?
I'll go out in the morning, pick up the patrols, and drive those Cheyenne back where they belong.
Well, let me think on it, Nathan. I'll let you know later.
The day wore on. Now, life within a post isn't all spit and polish. Take Lieutenant Pennell, for instance, and the Major's niece. Pennell's got a buckboard, and it's a fine day for a drive. Only he's having a little trouble at the gate.
You heard me, Mr. Pennell. The post is on alert. Nobody's leaving the ground.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Cohill.
You heard me. Sorry to spoil your outing, Miss Dandridge.
Sorry, indeed. Because I wouldn't trust you to take me on a picnic last Sunday. Now you're hazing Mr. Pennell. You just drive right on through, Ross. If you don't, I will.
You touch those reins, and I'll slap you in the guardhouse.
You wouldn't dare.
Someone placing you under arrest, Miss Dandridge?
It's Lieutenant Cohill, Captain. He suddenly decided that he can order me around.
Sir, I was merely following
I
orders.
believe you interrupted the lady, Mr. Cohill.
He certainly did. Now, I don't want to make a scene, Captain. But First Lieutenant Cohill has made up his mind that Second Lieutenant Pennell hasn't rank enough to be seen in my company.
Sir, if I
now
could just...
you're interrupting.
Yes, sir.
Any further complaint, Miss Dandridge?
Complaint? Oh, I'm not complaining, Captain.
Aha.
Mr. Cohill, wipe that grin off your face and state your case.
Sir, I have denied Mr. Pennell permission to leave the post.
And for what purpose did you wish to leave the post, Mr. Pennell?
Picnicking, sir.
Picnicking? Miss Dandridge? Where? In St. Louis?
Oh, no, sir. Just up by the waterfall, sir. But I'm sorry.
Never apologize, mister. It is a sign of weakness. Mr. Cohill, I see no reason why Mr. Pennell should not go picnicking.
Very good, sir.
Thank you, Captain.
But, Miss Dandridge, Mr. Cohill was quite right in denying you permission to leave under the present emergency. If you will be so kind as to get out of the buckboard.
Oh, but really...
Your arm, ma'am. Thank you. Mr. Pennell, you may proceed with your picnic. This way, Miss Dandridge.
Ask Lieutenant Pennell.
Yes, sir.
Where'd you say you were holding your picnic?
I'll tell you where. At Delmonico's in New York about 2 months from now. With Olivia, see? And I won't be wearing any blue suit either, bub. Get it!
The Major sent for me early that evening. He had made up his mind.
I guess there's no other course to take, Nathan. Find those Cheyennes and push them back. Oh, by the way, here's the last report on Custer's outfit. 212 men, Nathan. Headquarters expects a hard and bloody winter. Sitting Bull preaching a holy war. I want you to take every precaution.
These names. George Armstrong Custer. Tom Custer. Boston Custer. Calhoun. Cook.
Yes, I expect you knew most of them.
I expect I did. Harrington. Keogh. Miles Keogh. Yes, Mac. A hard and bloody winter.
Oh, Nathan, those flowers over there, Abby picked them. She thought maybe for Mary's grave.
Oh, well, I was figuring to stop by there now and...
Yes, I know. Never miss a day, do you?
Oh, thank her for me, will you, Mac? They're real pretty flowers. 9 years, Mac. 9 years last month. Here, Abby, are from Mary. She raised them herself. Well, only 6 more days to go, and your old Nathan will be out of the Army. Haven't decided what I'll do yet. Somehow, I just can't picture myself back there on the banks of the Wabash, rocking on a front porch. No, I've been thinking that maybe I'd push on west to the new settlements in California. Anyway, I'm taking the troops out in the morning. Some Cheyennes around, so I pick up the patrols and drive them back north. My last mission, Mary. Hard to believe, isn't it? My last...
I hope I'm not intruding, Captain.
Why, no, ma'am, not at all. I was just...
I know. I've watched you come out here so many times. I'm sorry I made such a fool of myself this morning.
You made a fool out of a couple of young lieutenants. That's never against Army regulations.
Then I'm forgiven?
You're forgiven.
Thank you, Captain. Good night.
Good night, Miss Dandridge. She's a nice girl, Mary. She reminds me of you. At dawn, the troop was mounted and ready to leave, till Sergeant Quincannon came up driving a wagon. Just what do you think you're up to, Quincannon? Get out of that wagon.
Begging your pardon, Captain Darlin, it's orders. Major's orders.
Orders?
Yes, sir, yes, sir. I'd best be seeing about them side saddles, too, sir.
Side saddles? Are you trying to tell me? I'll be at Major Alshard's quarters. All right, Eddie.
Hold on, Nathan, hold on. I know.
What in blazes does this mean, side saddles? A covered wagon filled with women's junk. I can't hamper this patrol with a wagon, particularly this patrol.
Nathan, I'm sending my wife and niece with you.
What?
They're to go as far as Sudrow's Wells and take the stage east from there. This is an order.
I want to protest that order.
I expected you would. There's pen and paper, so put it in writing.
I intend to.
I sat up half the night with this, Nathan. I can't keep Olivia here. She ain't Army.
I'll say she ain't. For the following reason.
You want some coffee?
No. Yes. One, there is a party of Cheyenne raiding this territory.
I have a feeling that every woman will...
How many R's are there in territory?
2.
Oh.
Here, here's your coffee. Poor Abby. She says everyone will think she's running away. And what about me? I'll be a bachelor all right.
And in conclusion, I respectfully protest the decision of my commanding officer to saddle this troop with his female relations.
1 L in relation.
At this critical hour. Signed, Nathan Briddles, and so forth.
It sounds very good, Nathan. I'll be glad to file it. Oh, believe me, I hate to hamstring you this way, but you will take every precaution.
Of course he will, dear. And how did marching through Georgia take the idea of old Iron Pants riding with him?
Under protest, Abby.
Written protest, Abby, of course. It's always my pleasure to escort old Iron Pants. Well, as long as you're going along with us. Abby, that is the dad-blamedest outfit I ever did see. Quincannon's old britches.
A little baggy, I suppose, Nathan. But they'll do for the trail.
Where's Olivia?
It's been a long time
Been
denying
ready
it.
for an hour.
Be kind of
She's
tough.
probably outside with one of your lieutenants.
Well, kiss the old man of yours and
That's
say
not what
goodbye.
kept me away.
When we get out of here.
It was Carl Stoyer. Stoyer's dead. Yes, dead and buried.
And I hope you approve of my
Just a
uniform,
nice old
Mr.
German
Cohill.
refugee.
Very becoming, ma'am. And I notice you're wearing a yellow ribbon.
It's been a long time to know.
Fennell, huh?
How do you know it isn't for you, mister?
I'd be very happy if it were for me. Very happy indeed.
Morning.
Trooper Dandridge reporting, sir.
Well, and a proper trooper, too, and right pretty, don't you think, Mr. Cohill?
I do indeed, sir.
And a yellow ribbon, Miss Dandridge. Do you know what that means in the cavalry? A sweetheart.
It does?
Who's it for?
Why, for you, Captain, of course.
For me, huh? I'll make these young bucks jealous yet.
I brought your mount, Olivia. May I help you?
Thank you, Mr. Pennell.
I hope you're wearing that yellow ribbon for me, ma'am.
Why, who else would it be for? Hurry up, Aunt Abby. They'll be leading without it.
So we left the post. Just another routine mission. Folks waving goodbye, kids yelling, dogs barking. Only one thing in particular caught my eye. As we rode past the store, I saw Mr. Reinders, the sutler, in the back of the stable. He was hitching up his buckboard. Some hours later on the trail.
Sergeant Tyree reporting, sir.
At ease, Tyree.
Well, like you told me, sir, I took cover till Reinders left the post. I've been trailing him ever since. He went southeast, Captain, about a mile below the painted pole. There's 2 men waiting for him in a wagon.
You recognize them?
No, sir. and it didn't seem prudent to inquire.
Now, what do you suppose they were doing that far south, and why did Mr. Reinders leave the post in the first place?
He's a storekeeper, sir.
That's right, licensed to sell merchandise to folks all over this territory. Only the post was on alert, Mr. Tyree, so I ask you again. What do you suppose Mr. Reinders and two strangers were doing that far south?
Well, sir, I reckon that ain't my department, sir.
Take a point, Tyree. We'll probably pick 'em up on the next go-around.
Romantic, isn't it, Miss Dandridge? Guidons gaily fluttering, bronze men lustily singing, horses prancing, and bunions aching.
Must you always be so vulgar, Mr. Cohill?
The cavalry doesn't go in for refinements, Miss Dandridge.
Cavalry? This ridiculous business of dismounting and walking every hour or so, you might as well be in the infantry.
We soon would be if we didn't ease these mounts. Why don't you ride in a wagon with Mrs. Olshard?
No, thank you. And if you don't mind, I'd like permission to ride back along the line.
Why?
If you must know, I'd rather share the dust back there with Mr. Pennell.
Haven't you already thrown enough dust in Pennell's eyes? Why don't you give him a chance?
Mr. Cohill.
Yes, sir?
Relieve Mr. Pennell with the rear guard.
Yes, sir.
Everything under control here, miss?
Thank you, Captain. Everything's just fine.
An hour later, Tyree found something he wanted me to see. I told Cohill, Pennell, and the bugler to tag along. Far off against the hills, a long, low cloud of dust was rising.
Traveling the same direction we are, sir, toward Sudrow's Well.
Can you make 'em out, Sergeant?
Looks like the Arapahoes, sir.
Field glasses, Mr. Pennell.
Yes, sir.
They're moving the whole village, wagons, lodgings, and all.
Yeah. Tyree, I don't know where you got your brains, but God must have given you that pair of eyes. They're Arapahoes, all right, heading the same way we are. Now, why would they be moving on Sudrow's Wells?
My mother didn't raise no sons to be making guesses in front of a Yankee captain, sir.
Well, I'd soon find out if... there's no use even thinking about it. We can't risk it with these women.
Arapahoes?
Yes, Mr. Cohill, and I don't like it. So we'll turn east, gentlemen. Give 'em a wide berth.
But we'll lose half a day that way, sir.
The ladies may miss the stage, sir.
Would you rather that they missed their scalp, sir? Get back to the column, both of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, sir.
Oh, shut up. By late afternoon, we reached the canyon country. With any luck, we'd be at Sudrow's Wells by morning.
Thought you didn't like the wagon, Miss Dandridge.
You don't shout, Mr. Cohill. My aunt's trying to take a nap.
Well, I've only got one thing to say to you. Why don't you take your hooks out of Ross Pennell? He's got the makings of a good officer.
You are not his guardian, nor mine, Mr. Cohill.
Well, I'm telling you just the same. Ross is a spoiled rich kid, and the Army's his only chance. So if you can't take the Army, leave him alone.
Just before dusk, we reached the rim of a valley. And down below was a sight that likes of which I hadn't seen in years.
Why, they're buffaloes, sir.
I admire your intelligence, Mr. Cohill. First time the herd's been this far south since the summer of '68. That right, Quincannon?
Correct, sir. It looks just like the good old days, sir. Buffalo meat and whiskey at 50 cents a gallon, sir.
You ever see a buffalo, Mr. Pennell?
No, sir.
Well, I doubt if the ladies have either. You may escort them as far as those rocks. The view might please them.
Thank you, sir.
And what you're thinking, Mr. Tyree? And don't tell me it ain't in your department.
Well, Captain, if I was a young hot blood like Redshirt, anxious to show off before them Cheyenne dog soldiers, I'd be walking in front of one of them council fires tonight, telling them that I was the one that made the medicine that brought back a buffalo. I'd tell them how all us Indians should stick together now, quit quarreling, and drive out the rest of them Yankee soldiers. That's what I'd tell them, Captain. So, of course, I'm just guessing, you understand?
Yeah, well, of course, now, I'm just guessing, too, Sergeant, but if I was an Indian agent, maybe a licensed sutler with the name of Reinders, if I'd met up with a couple of men near Painted Post who might be gun runners, I'm guessing I'd be mighty close to that council fire of red shirts, ready to do a land office business in repeating rifles. How good's that mount of yours, Tyree?
Best in the troop, sir.
Make for the Paradise River. Pick up the rest of the patrol there, then proceed at your best pace to Sudrow's Wells. Have them hold the stage for the ladies.
Yes, sir.
And tell them that I've been delayed. If we kept moving all night, we'd reach Sudrow Wells by dawn. But just before daylight, we saw a strange glare in the horizon.
That's no sunrise, Captain. That's a fire.
It's the settlement, sir. Sudrow's Wells is over there.
Shut up, the lot of you. Ladies to the rear, Quincannon.
Yes, sir.
First 2 sets of 4s. Forward, you! We rode into Sudrow's Wells at top speed. But all that was left was a huddle of survivors and a pile of ashes. We'd come too late.
In just a moment, our stars will continue with Act 2 of She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. Now, here's Libby Collins, our Hollywood reporter, with the Lux Movie News of the week.
Reporting, John, that a Polynesian sarong has made another star. Not that pretty Deborah Paget hasn't already proved herself a star, but personally, I think 20th Century Fox did her an extra favor when they cast her in Bird of Paradise with Jeff Chandler and Louis Jourdan. 17-year-old Deborah didn't climb the ladder of success. She practically flew up. But it's not surprising. She has actors aplenty on her family tree. I just wonder what her ancestors, Baron de Stager and Lord Paget, would say to that sarong. Deborah, in Technicolor, makes one of the prettiest Polynesians I've ever seen. Louis Jourdan falls in love with her, but native taboos complicate their courtship. Just one bit of advice, girls. Bird of Paradise doesn't have a happy ending. So take along your handkerchiefs. You'll have a lovely cry.
Does Deborah wear sarongs throughout the picture?
That's right. And Deborah doesn't need Paris designs to look beautiful. The studio did make one important improvement on native washing methods. They took an 8-week supply of wonderful new Lux with color freshener to Hawaii, where the picture was filmed. It was so important in the Technicolor shots to keep Deborah's bright Polynesian prints sharp and dramatic, they wouldn't risk any other way of washing. There's nothing in the world just like wonderful new Lux with color freshener. Hollywood studios insist on it, and the stars themselves say it's more marvelous than ever. This remarkable new Lux is ideal for white things. You know how often white blouses get yellowed or gray-looking. Well, new Lux with color freshener keeps them dazzling white as new. Prints have such zing and snap you can hardly believe your eyes. All colors stay bright and beautiful, just the way you want them.
Thanks for the tip, Libby. If New Lux with color freshener does that for a sarong, think what it can do for your spring prints, your summer dresses and blouses.
Why don't you get a big box tomorrow? I'm sure you'll love it, just as Deborah Paget and so many Hollywood stars do.
Give your washables that nicest new Lux look. Now, here's Mr. Keeley, our producer.
Act 2 of She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, starring John Wayne as Captain Brittles, Mel Ferrer as Lieutenant Cohill, and Mala Powers as Olivia.
Among the survivors at Sudrow's Wells were 7 men from the Paradise River Patrol under Corporal Quayne. Quayne had been badly wounded.
Arapaho, sir, they jumped us at sundown yesterday, sir.
Yes, well, your report can wait, Quayne. Doctor, over here.
I better give it to you while I can, sir. They had us ringed. At night we got away. We made it to the relief point, sir, but you weren't there. Just Sergeant Tyree alone.
I wanted to be there, Corporal.
We got here before midnight, and then they closed in.
Thank you. A good, clear report, Corporal. Show up in your record when you come up for that extra stripe in 2 or 3 years.
Thank you, sir.
Who are they, Tyree?
Cheyenne dog party. About 30 Arapahoes with them. They banded up under Red Shirt.
Well, that blows the lid, doesn't it? How many dead here?
5, sir. Ma and Pa Sudrow, one other woman, 2 men.
Children see it?
No, sir. Found them hiding in the smokehouse.
Tyree, I think it's about time I did retire.
Sir, one of the dead is Trooper Smith.
Smith?
Wasn't for him, sir. There's a lot more of us been gone.
Smith?
I served under him for more than a year, sir. Wilderness campaign.
Oh, yes, I know. Mr. Cahill.
Sir?
Where are the women?
They've rounded up the children, sir, getting them quieted down, sir.
Assign a burial party, Mr. Cahill. Then I'll want this column moving again within an hour. There's a storm coming up. For who shall believe it in me shall never die. I commend to your keeping, sir, the souls of John Sudrow and his wife Martha, Albert Bridges and his wife Annie, and also the soul of Rome Clay, late Brigadier General, Confederate States Army, known to his comrades here as Trooper John Smith, United States Cavalry, a gallant soldier and a Christian gentleman. Amen. We buried the dead and made ready for the journey back to Fort Stark.
Captain Riddle.
You will go to the rear, Miss Dandridge, where you belong.
Yes, sir, I'll go. But I want you to know that I'm well aware that all of this is because of me. Because I wanted to see the West. Because I wasn't Army enough to stay the winter.
You're not quite Army yet, miss, or you'd know never to apologize. It's a sign of weakness. For what's happened, only the man who commands can be blamed. Press on me. Mission failure. Yeah, we sure missed the stage, Miss Dandridge.
Pass the word. Quain's doing fine.
What are they talking about, Mr. Cahill?
Corporal Quain, the doc says he'll be all right.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Why? He's just another dog-faced soldier in dirty shirt blue. What's he mean to you? Did you ever dance with him at the fort? Did you ever speak to him? No, of course you didn't. Quain's not a gentleman.
I've been finding that some lieutenant's bars are no guarantee of a gentleman either.
You're glad about Quain, sure. But only because it puts the happy ending to the story you'll take back east to your tea parties. Well, now you can tell him you've seen it all. A real Indian fight. A man with an arrow sticking in his chest.
Why do you have...
That should make your tour just about perfect.
If you don't mind, Miss Dandridge.
Yes?
Mrs. Alshard is a rough time in that wagon, helping with Quain and all. Would you spell her for a while?
Certainly, Captain. Thank you.
Mr. Cahill, did anyone ever take down your breeches and tan your hide?
Why, no, sir. That is, yes, sir, my father, sir, with a strap.
Well, I'm just old enough to be your father, bub. Now get out of here. Take a point.
They'll make a fine, boisterous couple, Captain Donald, when they're married.
When I want your opinion, Quincannon, I'll...
Yes, sir, any time at all.
Rain let up that afternoon, and at dusk I called a halt. We'd stop a while and rest. We needed it. All of us.
I wouldn't go any further if I were you.
Captain Riddle said we'd be here for 2 hours.
I didn't hear him say anything about taking a walk. There's probably 100 hostiles out there. You think that's a whippoorwill? Come on, Olivia, let's go back.
I can walk alone, thank you.
Olivia, please. The old man says don't ever apologize. It's a sign of weakness. But I'm sorry for everything I've said and done. Oh, honey, you know how I feel about you.
Flint, if you'd only...
All right, Cahill. Let's get her over with. Pull your blouse.
You crazy, mister?
Don't pull rank on me. You've been green-eyed ever since she put that yellow ribbon on.
Button up that shirt, mister.
Ross, please.
You can sneer all you want to, but you keep your paws off my girl.
All right, mister. I'll accommodate you.
Ross, no!
Button your shirt, Mr. Pennell. I thought better of you. 4 years out here and still acting like a wet-eared cadet on the Hudson. What is this all about, Mr. Cohill?
Sir, I must decline to answer, respectfully.
Mr. Cohill, it is a bitter thing indeed to learn that an officer who has had 9 years' experience in the cavalry, the officer to whom I am surrendering command of this troop in 2 more days, should have so little grasp of leadership as to allow himself to be chivied into a go at fisticuffs while cats have barely sounded over a brave man's grave. God help this troop when I'm gone.
Sir, it was my fault.
You're at attention, Mr. Pennell.
It was a misunderstanding.
You'll
Captain.
oblige Miss Dandridge by getting back to troop area.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Cohill, you will have the men build their squad fires higher. Make the fullest show of bedding down here for the night. Then we're sneaking out, heading for the river. Is that clear, Mr. Cohill?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, Ross.
Sorry, Flint.
As usual, I had sent Sergeant Tyree to scout up ahead. And as usual, his eyesight hadn't failed him.
Hostile, sir. They're holed up in a ravine about 3 miles north of here. Only that ain't all.
Well?
They got visitors. Our old friend Rinders. Right smart of trading going on right now. Repeating rifles.
Mr. Rinders, huh? Well, pass the word to Mr. Pennell. The 3 of us are going up to that ravine. The darkness helped us. We got to within maybe 100 yards of the Indian encampment. They'd built a big council fire. There was Rinders and his friends bargaining with Redshirt over the rifles and the wagon.
Well, what's the argument now? Same thing, Rinders. Redshirt keeps saying that $50 apiece is too much. Too much, huh? Tell that grandson of a horse thief that I know he's got the money. Because he stole it from the paymaster's coat. Tell him I know he killed him, too. That it's $50 or no rifle.
We saw Redshirt raise his hands and a flash of knives. They dragged the white men, still living, and threw them on the fire. Join me in a chaw of tobacco, Sergeant?
No, sir. I don't chaw and I don't play cards.
Chawing tobacco is a nasty habit. Been known to turn a man's stomach. Mr. Pennell?
I'll take a chaw if you please, sir.
Here. Now let's go. You still figuring on resigning, Mr. Pennell?
No, sir.
When we got back to the column, I called a meeting of the officers and sergeants.
All present, sir.
Any time between now and daylight, gentlemen, we can expect an attack. That means the main column is leaving here right now. We will leave a rear guard under 1 officer.
Sir, I'd consider it a privilege if
Thank you, Mr. Purnell. Your offer to volunteer will go on your record, if you still wish to make a record. Mr. Cohill, 2 squads will remain behind. You will be in command.
I have the 1st and 2nd, sir.
The 2nd squad has too many old married men.
1st and 5th, sir.
You will cover our crossing and dig in.
Yes, sir.
And pass the word and let's start moving.
Lieutenant Pennell reporting, sir. The main column is safely across the river, all but you and Miss Dandridge, sir.
Stand by. Mr. Cohill, as you know, this is the only crossing within 20 miles. So you've got to buy me some time. You've got to buy me a long day.
Then we'll do it, sir.
I know you will, Flint.
Flint. Took you 9 years to call me that, sir. And it was well worth waiting for.
Well, we'll get you out of here, son. Just hang on. We'll get you out of this pocket by noon tomorrow. Mount your horse, Miss Dandridge.
Flint, wait.
Well, haul off and kiss her, blast you. We haven't got all night.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
I'll be back, man. I'll be back. I promise you. Well, what are you waiting for, Mr. Pennell? Escort the lady across the river.
If you'll follow me.
Ross. I'm sorry, Ross. And I guess that's how it is.
You and Flint. Yeah, sure.
Good luck, Flint.
You're worn out, Nathan. The report can wait till later. Just thank heaven so many of you got safely back here to post.
It is my duty to report, Major Allshard. Mission a failure.
Oh, fiddlesticks. It was our fault. You did everything and
I
more
have
than
never
that.
worn a coat of whitewash yet, Abby, and I won't start now. I failed at Sudrow's. I failed to keep Reinder's rifles from the tribes, and I failed at everything. I leave the Army a failure.
Now stop it. You're just running yourself down because you...
Blast it, Mac. Hasn't she told you I left Flint Cohill with 2 squads back at the Paradise?
And a sound military move.
So, with your permission, I'll start back. I'll have Cohill out of that pocket by noon tomorrow.
No, Nathan. The troops can't leave till morning.
Morning? They ought to pull out of here before midnight.
Well, I'd agree if you were leading them, but Pennell will need all the daylight he can find.
Pennell? That babe in the wood? Fording a river against a swarm of hostiles with Winchesters?
Nathan, aren't you forgetting something? You'll retire from the Army tomorrow.
Tomorrow is all I need. I can't leave Cohill facing those devils.
It's no one-day mission. This could go on for weeks.
All right, then I'll volunteer as a civilian scout, interpreter, anything.
And I thought you were fond of Cohill.
Fond of him?
Every time Cohill gave an order, men would turn around and look at you, wondering if he was doing the right thing. You want to ruin the boy?
Oh, I know, Mac.
Pennell's got to run his chances, too. We ran him, Nathan. That's what we get paid for.
Yeah, I guess you're right, Mac. I guess you're right. Well, with your permission, then, I'll quit the post tomorrow.
Permission granted, Nathan.
Where will you go, Captain?
Go? I don't know, miss. West, I guess. California, new settlements. Old soldiers, Miss Dandridge. Someday you'll learn how they hate to give up. Captain of a troop one day and every man's face turned toward you. Lieutenants jump when I growl, and now tomorrow I'll be glad if the blacksmith asks me to shoe a horse.
Blast your eyes, Abby. If you start sniffling now... And as for you, young lady...
I'm not crying. I'd like to stand up and cheer.
At dawn the next morning, I reviewed the troops. My last review. They had a present for me. Watch and chain, solid silver, brought in special. St. Louis.
It's engraved on the back, sir. Captain Brittles from C Troop, lest we forget.
Lest we forget.
We had hoped to hold a dance in your honor, sir, but under the circumstances...
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. You will do me one last favor, Mr. Pennell. Take your troop and proceed on your mission.
Yes, sir.
Forward! Yo!
Good luck, C Troop. Good luck.
Stop worrying, Nathan. They'll get Cohill out of there.
But that's not enough, visit, Mac. Within a week, those hostiles will be here on your doorstep. Then what?
Oh, we'll take care of them.
Yeah, well, I'll say goodbye. Oh, I left my other saddle in the cabin. Give it to Abby. It'll be easier on her disposition. Say goodbye to her for me, Mac.
He'll do no such thing, Nathan Brittles. Goodbye is a word we don't use in the cavalry. Now come here.
Yes, ma'am.
Until our next post, dear.
Thank you, Abby. Once out of sight of the post, I swung east toward the Paradise River. I had a plan. I had witnessed Reinder's murder, but I had seen more than that. Among the Indians around that council fire, I had seen an old man. Pony that walks. I had known him from years before. Yes, I had a plan.
And now, a brief brief intermission before our stars return with Act 3 of She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. I've chosen as our special guest tonight Hollywood-born Leslie Banning, who is building a very successful career as a freelance actress. You've made a picture recently at RKO, haven't you, Leslie?
Well, yes, I have, Mr. Keeley. But I haven't even seen the rushes yet.
Well, I'll let you in on a secret. John Farrell, the director, told me you've done a splendid job.
Well, that's good news, Mr. Keeley. You did better than my spy.
And who was that?
Jane Russell. She's my sister-in-law,
Oh,
you know.
yes, of course.
While Jane was working on Howard Hughes' production of His Kind of Woman with Robert Mitchum, I asked her to get some inside information, but she wouldn't talk.
Perhaps you should have asked Jane to sing. You know, she plays a sultry nightclub singer in search of romance, and naturally, she finds it with Robert Mitchum in this action-packed drama. Glamour and sophistication become this new Jane.
Practically swooned over the gorgeous clothes she wears in His Kind of Woman. 19 different outfits.
And judging by appearances, you yourself can face any clothes competition with distinction.
Thank you, Mr. Keeley. You know, one of the reasons it's so easy to keep clothes looking wonderful is new Lux with color freshener. I've always loved Lux, but this new Lux is the most marvelous ever. Prints look wonderfully fresh, so alive, and colors, well, they practically sparkle. Even my lovely slips and nighties stay so gorgeous looking, I can hardly believe they've been washed at all. Jane and I both love it.
A great many other Hollywood stars agree with you and Jane Russell. No other way of washing nice things leaves them fresher or brighter. Hollywood studios say new Lux with color freshener is a washing miracle. This amazing new Lux leaves white things dazzling white, prints brilliant and gay, all colors dramatically new-looking. Even delicate pastel slips and nighties renew their fragile beauty every time you Lux them. If you haven't tried new Lux with color freshener, you're in for a real thrill. Get a big box tomorrow. Use it for your washables to give them that nicest new Lux look. Thank you for coming tonight, Leslie Banning.
It's been a pleasure, Mr. Kennedy.
We pause now for station identification. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The curtain rises on Act 3 of She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, starring John Wayne as Captain Brittles, Mel Ferrer as Lieutenant Cohill, and Mala Powers as Olivia.
I was back with the troop by nightfall. Fennell, to my surprise, had effected the relief of Cohill's men without incident. And so far, the Indians had failed to make a move.
There's a reason they've held off, sir. We've scouted them all day. They're concentrating forces.
How many, Mr. Cohill?
Close to 1,000, sir. Arapahoes, Kiowas, Comanches, and those Cheyenne dog soldiers.
How much time have we got? What's your guess?
No time at all, sir, because we've got to hit them first. I'm glad the Major sent you, Captain. The men will feel a lot better about it now.
You didn't send me, Mr. Cohill. I am not on duty.
Then the orders haven't been changed.
Orders are orders, sir. But for the next 4 hours, according to my brand new silver watch and chain, I am still an officer in the United States Cavalry. Flint, if I gave you a written order, would you obey it?
I don't need a written order, sir.
Nevertheless, you're going to get it. It might come in handy in our court-martial. Sergeant Tyree?
Yes, sir.
I am ordering you to volunteer again.
Yes, sir.
You and me are going to ride out of here, Sergeant, just as soon as I write Mr. Cohill's orders. It's just a pencil, Flint, but I'm using all the official phrases.
Yes, sir.
You will remain here in your command, and don't force any action until I return. But if I don't, then read this piece of paper for your orders. Put it in your pocket.
I understand, sir.
And now, Mr. Tyree, if you'll find me a fresh horse, we'll take a little ride out toward those hills.
Not that it's any of my business, sir, but may I ask where we're going?
That's a foolish question, Sergeant. You know as well as I do.
Yes, sir. To the Indian encampment. You aiming to powwow with Red Shirt, Captain?
I'm not that crazy.
No, sir.
But there is a chief who might listen to us. Pony that walks. Ever hear of him?
Yes, sir, but he's an old man.
That makes two of us who've seen enough of war.
Yes, sir. In case you don't know it, sir, that ain't a bird.
Walk your horse, Sergeant. Hold up your right hand. It's a peace signal. Let's hope they'll see it.
They're just over that ridge, Captain.
Yeah. Ever been scared, Mr. Tyree?
Yes, sir. Up to and including right now.
We reached the crest and rode past their guards. They swarmed in on every side, warriors in full paint, crazy for blood. We forced our way through to the council fire. Their leaders, half a dozen of them, stood in front of us. Then Redshirt fired an arrow at my feet. We come in peace. This Redshirt knows, but he answers with an arrow before we can talk. I take his arrow from the ground. I break the arrow of Redshirt. I spit on his arrow. I will speak with Pony that walks.
Nathan, I am Christian. Hallelujah. Old friend me. Long time.
I have come in peace, Pony that walks.
Take salt, Nathan. Take salt.
It was plain that the old Indian was tolerated in the council only because of his years. Redshirt was the leader of this army and nobody else.
Redshirt, very angry. Lili, Shichi, Saba. Kill. Much blood. Nathan, old friend. Smoke pipe. Nathan, smoke. Good.
I smoke your pipe, but my heart is sad at what I see. Your young men painted for war. The medicine drum's talking. It is a bad thing.
Many men will die. My young men, your young men. No good.
We must stop this war.
The young men do not listen to me. They listen to big medicine. Yellow hair Custer dead. Buffalo come back. Great sign. Too late, Nathan. You come with me. We hunt buffalo together. Smoke many pipes. We are too old for war.
Yes, we are too old for war, but old men should stop war.
Too late. Soon many squaws sing death songs, many lodges empty. You come with me. We hunt buffalo. Get drunk together. Hallelujah.
No, old friend, I must go. I go far away.
You will go in peace, Nathan. I put Manitou round neck. No harm. Washkiola.
It appears they're turning us loose, Captain.
It's not enough, Sergeant. I had hopes of coming to terms.
Terms? With them?
One more failure to add to my...
Is there something wrong?
No, nothing wrong. Just glanced to your left there. Kind of casual-like, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Well?
The ponies, hundreds of them.
Hundreds of ponies in a gully where they can't wander off. But if something was to stampede those ponies...
Stampede? Yes, sir.
Back to camp, Mr. Tyree. On the double.
Lieutenant Cohill reporting, sir. Troops ready to move, sir.
The men know their assignments.
Yes, sir. The column in single file leading mounts. We're to follow you, sir, proceeding with the utmost quiet.
There's a creek at the near end of that gully. We'll stop there and form ranks.
Meantime, sir?
Meantime, Mr. Cohill, just pray that the moon stays behind those clouds. Troop, halt. Pass the word.
Halt and pass the word.
Mr. Cohill, can you read the time by my brand new silver watch and chain?
Yes, sir. 12 minutes to midnight, sir.
The gully lies straight ahead of us. On signal, we'll gallop through that draw and stampede the herd out the other end into their encampment. Questions, Mr. Cohill?
No questions, sir.
Mount and pass the word.
Mount and pass the word.
Mount and pass the word.
Bugler?
Sir?
A count of 3 and sound the charge. Any wounded, Mr. Cohill?
No casualties, sir.
No casualties. No Indian war, no court-martial. You'll have a time rounding up those hostiles, Mr. Cohill, but they'll not get very far on foot.
Take them back to the post, sir?
No, back to the reservation. Have your soldiers follow them all the way. Stay about a mile behind them. Walking hurts their pride, and your watching will hurt it worse.
Yes, sir.
Can you read what time it is by my brand-new silver watch and chain?
2 minutes past midnight, sir.
I've been a civilian for 2 minutes. Hard to believe. It's your army, Mr. Cohill. Good luck.
Captain Brittles just said goodbye and rode away. Is that it, Mr. Cohill?
Yes, Major. We got the hostiles on the trail, sir. Then I left Lieutenant Fennell in charge and returned here to report, sir.
So Nathan's finished with the Army, is he? Well, the Army isn't finished with him. Who's your best rider, Mr. Cohill?
Why, Sergeant Tyree, sir.
Then tell Sergeant Tyree I want to see him right away.
Hello, Captain Brittle.
Tyree?
Been half a week running you down.
If you think you're going to California, Mr. Tyree, you're...
Just bringing a message for you, sir.
Huh?
From a Yankee War Department by way of Major Olshaw.
I knew it. Dad blasted, I knew it. Where's my spectacles? Every time a man... Tyree. Look what it says. It's my appointment, Chief of Scouts with the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. And will you look at those endorsements? Phil Sheridan, William Tecumseh Sherman, and Ulysses Simpson Grant, President of the United States of America. There's 3 aces for you, boy.
Yes, sir. I kind of wished you'd been holding a full hand.
Huh? Full hand? What do you mean, full hand?
Robert E. Lee.
Oh. Well, it wouldn't have been bad. Let's get back, boys.
Here he is, Major, sir. He's coming up the steps now.
Open the door, Quincannon.
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Colonel Brittles.
What's going on here, anyway?
Just a dance in your honor, sir, to welcome you back. And I might add, you kept us waiting for some time.
Well, I'm sorry I'm late, Mac, but I didn't even
Don't
know
apologize, Colonel. It's a mark of weakness.
Well, proceed, Bandmaster, proceed.
Old Iron Pants has a request to make. Your arm, Nathan.
Thank you, Abby.
And, sir.
Yes, Mr. Cohill?
You'd be surprised to know that Miss Dandridge and I are going to be...
Why, son, I knew it all the time. Everybody in the post knew it above the rank of a second lieutenant. Right, Mr. Fennell?
There'll come a time, sir, when I'll be a first lieutenant.
Yeah, in 10 or 12 years.
Will you stay for the dance, Colonel?
Well, if you'll excuse me, Miss Dandridge, I've got to make my report first.
Colonel, wait. Here, please take these with you.
Oh, I am obliged, ma'am. Oh, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Report? And your flowers. You gave him your flowers.
I think they'll make someone else even happier, darling. His girl.
So ends the story of Captain Brittles and the troops he led. The dog-faced soldiers, the 50 cents a day professionals riding the outpost of the nation. From Fort Reno to Fort Apache, from Sheridan to Stockton. Men in dirty shirt blue and only a cold page in the history books to mark their passing. But wherever they rode and whatever they fought for, that place became the United States.
I hope you enjoyed the show as much as I did. Now I know you'll want to meet our stars personally, so in just a moment, Mr. Keeley will be back with them for a brief chat and to tell you about next week's show. But first, I'd like to give you my own experience with this wonderful new Lux with color freshener. I was so excited myself the first time I tried it, I could hardly believe my eyes. You know, here in Hollywood, we see so many wonderful things that when the stars themselves say it's the most marvelous thing that ever happened to their favorite Lux, you can be sure it's really sensational. I call it a beauty bath for colors. Take my white blouses. They stay whitest white time after time, and my prints, they look so vivid and alive after a Lux bath, I think I must be dreaming. Just for fun, I've tried new Lux for practically all the colors in the rainbow, and they just sparkle like new every time. Won't you try it? I'm sure you'll love it just as much as I do. Do me a favor, won't you? You'll be doing yourself one. Get a big box of new Lux tomorrow and give your washables that nice as new Lux look. Now, here's Mr. Keeley with our stars.
And here they are to receive your special thanks. John Wayne, Mel Ferrer, and Mala Powers. John, we usually advise the young actresses appearing here to use Lux to help their careers. Now, for the young actors, we'll take a tip from you and suggest football.
Well, it is true that I went from football to making pictures, but my wife has always used Lux Flakes, and there you have the complete story of my life.
Well, John, I'm also an ardent fan of Lux Flakes, but I hope that isn't the complete story of my life.
Well, honey, you've got a long way to go, and I'd say you're off to a flying start.
And that comes from a man who knows. John, I think you're one actor who can truly say that the secret of your success is hard work.
Well, that's for sure. I understand that at one time there were 9 different John Wayne pictures playing simultaneously in local theaters.
Well, I like to be active, Mel, and I try to see that all the pictures are filled with the same. For instance, at RKO, I just finished the Edmund Granger production of The Flying Leathernecks. You can guess what that's all about. We're soon leaving for Ireland to do a film with John Ford.
Well, why don't you stay with us at RKO and do another picture?
Well, okay, Mel. I'd really like a chance to direct something for Howard Hughes like you've been doing.
I suppose, John, you're talking about Mel Ferrer's wonderful direction of Faith Domergue in Vendetta.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Producing, acting, directing. Now you know the secret of John Wayne's success. Hard work.
Well, speaking of hard work, Bill, what are you doing here next week?
Mel, we've really selected an exceptional cast for next week's play, and we'll present them in Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's electrifying drama, The Red Danube. And from the original cast, we have 3 great stars: Walter Pidgeon, Peter Lawford, Janet Leigh. You won't want to miss this gripping story combined with a tender romance.
It sounds wonderful. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, and all our thanks.
Here's Ella Raines, one of Hollywood's loveliest young stars' own tip on complexion care. I never skip my Lux Soap facials a single day, she says. They're so quick and easy. I just cream the rich Lux lather well into my skin. Rinse with warm water, then a quick splash of stimulating cold. I pat to dry with a soft towel. Now my skin feels so satin smooth and soft. Try this simple care Ella Raines recommends. It's so easy to be Lux lovely. Lux Soap has active lather, you know, that really makes skin lovelier. That's why 9 out of 10 screen stars use fragrant white Lux toilet soap regularly.
Lever Brothers Company, the makers of Lux Flakes, join me in inviting you to be with us again next Monday evening when the Lux Radio Theater presents The Red Danube, starring Walter Pidgeon, Peter Lawford, and Janet Leigh. This is William Keeley saying good night to you from Hollywood.
Mala Powers appears through the courtesy of RKO, producers of Payment on Demand, starring Betty Davis and Barry Sullivan. Heard in our cast tonight were Barton Yarborough as Tyree, Bill Johnstone as the Major, George Neese as Fennell, and Wally Mayer as Quincannon. And Sandra Rogers, Norman Field, Dan Riss, Paul Dubov, and Eddie Marr. Our play was adapted by S.H. Barnett. The original story was by James Warner Bella. Our music was directed by Rudy Schrager. This is your announcer, John Milton Kennedy, reminding you to join us again next Monday night to hear Walter Pidgeon, Peter Lawford, and Janet Leigh in The Red Danube. Stay tuned for My Friend Irma, which follows over these same stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. Lux presents Hollywood. Lever Brothers Company, the makers of Lux Toilet Soap, bring you the Lux Radio Theater, starring John Wayne, Joanne Drew, and Walter Brennan in Red River. Ladies and gentlemen, your producer, Mr. William Keighley.
Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. There is in all of us a hidden spirit of adventure that responds to the thrills and suspense of Western drama. And tonight, we have a prize example of this kind of entertainment. It's the current success, Red River. Packed theaters have greeted this story of elemental emotion and romance in the Old West. And naturally, we're presenting it with the original star of the Monterey production, John Wayne, that great favorite of filmgoers everywhere, making his first appearance here tonight. And with John, we have two other members of the screen cast, Joanne Drew and Walter Brennan. If every man secretly longs to be a Western hero, I suppose every woman sees herself as eternally young and lovely. And that's the right point for Lux Toilet Soap to enter, because millions of women have chosen Lux Soap Care as the best way to guard complexion beauty. Now we're off to Red River and Act One of tonight's play, starring John Wayne as Tom Dunson, Joanne Drew as Tess, and Walter Brennan as Groot.
This is a story of Tom Dunson and Matthew Garth. Likewise, it's a story of a cattle brand. The brand known as the Red River D. And this is the way it all started. August it was of 1851. Tom Dunson and me had joined a wagon train from California. When we got close to the northern border of Texas...
Are you crazy, Dunson? You can't leave us. You signed on. You agreed that
We signed nothing, Colonel.
Now, wait a minute. You know this is Indian country.
Yeah, mister, we know that.
We can't afford to lose two men, and we can't afford to lose your livestock.
Livestock, one bull and two cows.
Well, we need them. We need the beginnings of herds in California.
Only we're not going to California. I've watched this land. It's good land. Good grass for beef. I'm going south and starting my own herd.
Now, look, Dunson.
I'd ponder on letting him be, mister. He's a mighty set man when his mind's made up.
Well, tell him I wish him luck.
I promise you. I'll send for you, Fen, just as soon as I can.
I want to go with you, Tom, now.
Oh, it's no use, Fen. You gotta stay with the train.
Tom, please. I'm strong. I can stand anything you can.
It's too much for a woman.
Too much for a woman. Put your arms around me, Tom. Feel me in your arms. Do I feel weak, Tom? Oh, you'll need me.
Fen, I'll send for you just as
Listen
soon
to
as...
me, Tom, please.
I've made up my mind.
Then for once in your life, change your mind.
This bracelet, Fen, it was my mother's. I want you to have it.
Oh, Tom, please let me.
Goodbye, Fen.
I could see the sun shining on that bracelet as we pulled away from the wagon train. Me and Tom and two cows and a bull. By evening, we'd come as far as the river.
Red River, Groot, and that's Texas on the other side.
How about calling it a day? Seems to me we... Tom, look. There to the north.
Indian smoke.
Signal smoke? It's too big, ain't it?
It's not signal.
It's rising from just about where the wagon train would be.
Take us hours to get back there. Fan, I should have brought her along.
We could be wrong, Tom. That smoke, maybe it's just prairie grass or something.
We'll ride back tomorrow and see.
No more'n started back the next morning when we seen him. A boy from the wagon train. He come staggering out of the brush, crazy-like, talking to himself and dragging a cow on the end of a halter.
Smoking and burning.
What happened, boy? What are you doing here? What happened?
Smoking and burning. Smoking.
How'd you get away?
Everything burning.
He's out of his head, Tom.
Wagons and people was screaming. I wouldn't hit me again, mister.
Put that gun down.
I said don't do that again.
It's all right, son. I just wanted to... See? Take his gun, Groot. You just learned something, boy. Don't ever trust anybody till you know them.
Thanks for telling me.
Now, how'd you get away?
My cow here, she broke loose. Got off in the brush. I was bringing her back when I heard him. Then I saw him. And I wish I hadn't. When they left, I went closer. There was no one alive.
It could be. Some of them got away.
One of the Indians been hit, I guess. Must have thought he was dead.
What about him?
Took a shot at me. I killed him. He had something in his hand. This silver bracelet.
Tom, that don't have to mean she's...
Shut up. Well, it looks like we'll have to take you along with us, son. Give him back his gun, Groot. Well, are you going to use it?
No, but don't ever try to take it away from me again.
That was the meeting of the man and the boy. And the beginning of a great herd. We started south through Texas, through the Panhandle, past the Pecos, until one day near the Rio Grande, Tom got off on his horse and took to feeling of the grass and smelling of it.
This is it. This is the land, Groot. This is where we start growing beef.
Sure looks good. Maybe even worth coming 2,000 miles for.
Who does it all belong to?
From now on, it belongs to me. Take a good look. Someday all this land, as far as you can see, will be covered with beef cattle. I'll put a mark on them, a brand to show they're mine.
What kind of a mark?
Well, there'll be two lines, see? Like this, like the banks of a river. And the letter D. D for Dunson, the Red River D brand.
You gonna brand my cow, too?
Why not?
D's for Dunson, but my name's Matthew Garth.
Maybe someday you'll earn a piece of the brand, but until you do...
Oh, strangers coming.
Huh?
2 of them.
Mexicans.
I ain't never seen a Mexican.
Well, keep your eyes open, boy. Step off to one side.
Buenos dias, senores. We saw the smoke of your fire.
Yeah?
To remain here on Don Diego's land, you are welcome. For a night, for a week, perhaps...
You, Diego?
Oh, no, senor. He is at his home across the Rio Grande. 600 kilometers to the south.
How far is that?
About 400 miles.
That's too much land for one man. It ain't decent.
Tell Don Diego that all the land north of the river is mine. Tell him to stay off it.
But the land is his, senor.
That'd get away. How did he get it?
Many years ago, by grant from the King of Spain.
You mean he took it away from whoever was here before? Indians, maybe.
Maybe so.
Well, I'm taking it away from him.
I regret, senor, but...
Now, how about you? You want a little of it?
No. It's not my land, senor. I will wait until Don Diego tells me what to do.
Then ride back and tell him what happened. Take your friend's horse. As for him, he'll get a decent burial.
As you say, senor.
Matt, I told you to get away. You might have got hurt.
He went for his gun first. But you kind of seem to know.
Next time, do what I say.
But how'd you know when he was going to draw?
By watching his eyes. Remember that.
I will.
Now, go get a shovel out of the wagon. And my Bible. I'll read over him. We're here, Groot. We're going to stay here. The big house will be down near the river. The corrals and the barns behind it. It'll be a good place to live in. Give me 10 years and I'll have the Red River D on more cattle than you've looked at anywhere. Enough beef to feed the whole country. But it'll take work and sweat and time. It'll be years. Years yet. You, Matt, where's that shovel?
happened just like he said. Tom Dunson, who'd come here with next to nothing, had the biggest ranch in Texas. One day we was riding in after roundup, me and Dunson and the kid. Only Matt wasn't a kid no more. Growed up he was. A dark man like Dunson, able and hard. Cattle. Nothing but cattle as far as your eye can see.
That's what we wanted, wasn't it? We had our 10 years, Groot, and more.
Oh, be about 14 now.
Thousands ahead of good beef. And as they stand out there, what are they worth? There isn't a head worth a plugged 3-cent piece.
What are you talking about?
It all happened while you were away at war, Matt. The South got beat. No money in the South. No market. Unless we can move that herd, I'm broke.
Broke?
I'm not going to take it hunched back like the rest around here. If there's no market for cattle in Texas...
And they ain't.
Then I'll take my cattle to where there is a market.
Missouri?
Yeah.
I figured.
Oh, while you're at it, did you figure a way to get them there?
Yeah. San Saba, then Meridian, then along the Brazos.
What about water?
Well, there's good water clear up to the Red.
Yeah, but going that way, we'd have 2 extra crossings.
You're not going.
I'm not
How
going,
do you know the water? No, you're not.
Well,
how do you know the water's good?
I led a patrol that way.
Well, do you think it's worth... What are you mumbling about? Where are those store teeth Matt brought you?
In my pocket.
Well, why don't you use them?
'Cause they whistle. I use them for eating.
I can't understand you.
Well, everybody else can.
What'd you say?
I said there's a lot of things you don't know about, Mr. Dunson.
Like what?
Like first off about me going on this here drive. It's 1,000 miles to Missouri, ain't it?
That's right.
Well, you figure I couldn't ride that far on account of my bad leg, huh?
That's right.
Well, it might be I could ride a chuck wagon.
We've already got a cook.
That is right, Mr. Dunson. But might be old Cookie might not like grubbing the trip all that way. Might also be up and quit this morning. Hey, you heard me good that time, didn't you?
Well, then, it might be we could persuade you to drive the chuck wagon.
Might be, Mr. Dunson, might be.
Matt, that's a pretty nice gun you're wearing. How good's your gun arm?
I've been using it a lot these last few years.
You know, that's a funny thing. Draw!
Haven't heard that laugh since I joined the Army.
He beat you, Mr. Dunson. He beat you to the draw, and the kick beat you.
You sure did, Matt.
Somebody beat you. He's a little faster, ain't he, Mr. Dunson? Just a mite faster, huh?
Say, Matt, when we get back, drop a map of that country we were talking about.
I did.
And I'll
It's on your desk.
Mite faster about a lot of things. See you later.
You know, Matt, that's the first time I seen a grin on his face all year. Except the other day when you come home.
Oh, he's changed, Groot.
Oh, he's changed some, sure. Well, why wouldn't he change? Fighting with soul and gut to hang on to this place. It cost him dear, too. It cost him a woman, the only woman he ever wanted.
Yeah, I know.
It cost him the killing of them 7 graves on the hill there. Men that tried to take this place away from him, and now this.
What, the drive? You don't think it can be done, huh?
10,000 head of cattle clear to Missouri. No, mister, I don't think it can be done. And you don't neither. I'm glad you come home to us, Matt. I'm glad you come home. All that week, sun up to dark, herding cattle into corrals and branding them with the Red River D. Now and then we'd find a steer from the south. That'd be the Mexican steer, Don Diego's. One branded with a circle M, and that'd be from the east, where a fella named Meeker had neighbored up.
Hey, Matt, another Diego.
Let him go, Tila.
Let him go. Another Meeker.
Turn him loose.
Turn nothing loose. Put a brand on him.
He's a Meeker steer, boss.
I said brand him.
You're going to wind up branding every hide in the state of Texas, except mine.
I'm going to go to Missouri with every head I can lay my hands on.
I think Meeker might be real pleased to know about that.
That I'll argue with Meeker.
Well, now might be a good time. That's him riding up right now, isn't it?
Huh? Yeah, that's Meeker.
Well, he's even got some men to back him up.
Hello, Dunson. I hear you're fixing to make a drive.
News travels fast, Meeker. We're going to Missouri.
That's what I heard. Also heard something else. Cumberland drove 3,000 head to the Red River. When he got across the Missouri border, a gang stole his herd, killed half his men.
Hard luck. Nobody's going to jump my cattle.
I don't want anybody to take mine either. Mind if I look your herd over?
I do mind.
Now, look, Dunson, everything I got...
I know, Meeker. Me too. All right. We've rounded up some of your stock and some of Diego's and some of everybody else's around here.
Well, then?
I haven't the time nor the inclination to cut 'em out. I'll drive 'em to Missouri and give you $2 a head when I get back here.
If you don't get back.
That's your gamble.
I reckon it is. All right. Suits me.
Brand 'em all, Matt. Anything that can walk. And tell every hand on the place to be in the bunkhouse after supper. I got a word to say to 'em. What I come to tell you, boys, is simply this. We start for Missouri tomorrow morning. Now, most of you men have come back to Texas from the war. You came back to nothing. Your home's gone, your cattle scattered, your land stolen by carpetbaggers. Well, there's no money and no work because there's no market for beef in the South. There is in Missouri. So we're going to Missouri.
Cumberland tried to go to Missouri, too, boss.
And Cumberland didn't make it. No one else ever has. We got 1,000 miles to go. 10 miles a day will be good. 15 will be luck. There'll be dry country, dry wells when we get to them. There'll be wind and storms, and there's going to be Indian territory. How bad, I don't know. But we'll get there. Now, nobody has to come along. But remember this. Every man who signs on for this drive agrees to finish it. There'll be no quitting along the way, not by me and not by you. Any questions?
Well, I guess we're all with you, Mr. Dunson.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, the wages will be $10 a month. Triple if the steers bring $15 at the railroad. But if we lose the herd, you lose your wages. I won't have the money to pay you. Now, sign 'em on, Matt. We start at sunup. Ready, Matt?
All ready.
Take 'em to Missouri. We're on our way, Groot. 14 years of hard work. And then they say we can't make the drive.
It's never been done before, and it could be wrong.
Yeah, they'd better be.
After a brief intermission, you'll hear Act Two of Red River. Now, here's our Hollywood reporter, Libby Collins, with news about the stars.
My list tonight, Mr. Keeley, is an extra special one. 3 famous stars, all in the same picture.
I wouldn't have to guess twice that the picture is 20th Century Fox's A Letter to Three Wives. A picture with a top-notch cast.
3 quite different types, too. There's Jean Crane. She's most appealing in the role of a young and unsophisticated wife.
And Southern, as the smart career wife, does an A1 job of acting.
And for glamour personified, we have Linda Darnell. They all make A Letter to Three Wives a sparkling comedy, with plenty of mystery and romance, too.
And real drama as well. Those country club dances scenes, for instance,
Yes, where Jean has such a dismal time trying to be a social success. Jean told me she has reason to remember that dance scene. They rehearsed it for several days.
Well, even dancing is no fun, if you have to keep at it that long.
Well, it was strenuous, all right. Everyone would leave the set exhausted. But being a Lux girl, Jean depended on a quick beauty pickup. A refreshing Lux soap beauty bath did the trick, she told me.
Now that their beauty soap is in big new bath size, screen stars say a Lux soap bath is more luxurious than ever.
Well, I can't imagine a nicer bath soap, John. Wonderful, creamy lather, even in hard water. And a lovely, delicate fragrance that lasts and lasts.
The Lux soap perfume is an exclusive blend, you know. It combines lily of the valley, lilac, carnation, and other delicate flower fragrances.
I'm sure every woman who tries the big new bath-sized Lux toilet soap will love it.
Yes, that generous satin smooth bath cake is a good item to put at the head of your shopping list. Why not try the new bath-size Lux toilet soap tomorrow? It's another fine product of Lever Brothers Company. We return you now to William Keeley.
Act Two of Red River, starring John Wayne as Tom Dunson, Joanne Drew as Tess, and Walter Brennan as Groot.
so we drove north. 10,000 cattle, wagons, horses, and 40-some men, crawling through hot, dry country. The dust made things bad, and it was hard work. At the end of the first 2 weeks, we'd come 160 miles.
Trouble with you, Matt, you make the drive look too easy. A lot of rough boys along the border. I just got back from there.
You know what happens, Cherry, if this drive doesn't get to market?
According to Dunson, we lose our wages.
You've just been all through this state. What did you see?
Yeah, I know. Cattle running wild, carpetbaggers grabbing with both hands. I seen a man once trying to swap a steer for half a sack of flour.
Then you know why we gotta get through.
But why drive to Missouri? Why not Kansas? There's a railroad in Kansas, too.
What'd you say?
Where in Kansas?
Oh, I saw the one in Topeka. And there's one in Abilene. And I met a fellow named Jess Chisholm, Indian trader. Told me he'd blazed a trail straight through this country into Kansas. We could pick it up the Red River. That way we'd have only Indians to worry about.
Yeah, I heard of that trail. This railroad in Abilene, did you see it?
Well, I didn't quite get there. Met a girl in Kansas City.
Groot, if we could head west at the Red River...
we sure save ourselves a heap
We're going to Missouri. I've seen buyers and cash in Missouri. What have you seen in Abilene, Cherry?
Not a thing, Mr. Dunson, but a girl...
We're going to Missouri. Matt, what's going on? What are you stopping them for?
This water here looks pretty good.
Well, Laredo just came from up ahead. There's water there, too. 4 or 5 miles.
Tom, the men are beat. They've had a pretty tough day, and I think they ought to...
I'll do the thinking. Keep them going.
Keep them going, Taylor. We're moving on.
Why can't we...
I said we're moving on.
It was like that day after day for a month. The herd was getting tired. They were spooky and restless, and it was all we could do to keep them together.
All right, pull up, Groot. We'll bed down here.
All right, man. Hi, Laredo. Just get in?
Yeah. Got any coffee and grub?
Yeah, I'll get you some.
What do you find up there, Laredo?
Good water for 3 days. Where's Dunson?
Out with the herd. See them coyotes? That means double guard tonight.
Well, leastways, there's a full moon. You see the herd clear down at the wash.
Oh, thanks for the grub. Where'd these pans go, Groot?
Back in the wagon, Laredo, but don't make too much noise with them neither, will you? They're tin, you know, and it wouldn't take much to scare them steers.
I wish that coyote had quit yowling. It's fretting them.
Dust and wind today put them on the prod. Wouldn't take much to stampede the whole outfit.
I was in a stampede once. I don't want no more of them. An owl hooted, just hooted, and the whole bunch was off. That's when old man Whiten and 3 fellas got tromped to death.
Yeah, I remember that.
No stampedes from me. I don't like them.
I don't like coyotes. There he is on the rocks. Watch.
Put down that gun.
I could get him with one shot.
In one shot right now, the whole herd would start running.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I must be crazy.
Who's in that wagon? Stop, please! Stop, please! Crowd them, man! Crowd them! Let them off! Let them off! Crowd them! Stampede. 10,000 head of cattle gone loco. Like an avalanche bearing down on you, pounding everything to dust that tries to stand before it. Horses, wagons, men, everything. Sometime before dawn, they run themselves out. We crowded them up in the canyon, miles from the camp. Tom Dunson was late coming back. He had a body slung across his saddle.
Who is it, Tom?
Adams. Danny Adams. Dead. It was right in their path when they started off. Give me a hand, Matt.
Adams.
We'll bury him, and I'll read over him. Matt, about his wife. See that she gets full pay for the drive, just as if he'd finished it, and get her, well, get her something.
He used to talk about getting her a pair of red shoes when we got
back.
back.
That's foolishness. Get her something that she... Yeah. Get her a pair of red shoes.
We buried Dan later that morning. Nobody left after Dunson closed his Bible. He stood there in front of the grave and said for Sam Conley to step out.
Last night, a man sneaked into the chuck wagon. Not because he was hungry. He went in to take some sugar. Stealing sugar like a kid. That's how the stampede started. He knocked over a pile of tin plates.
It was me, Mr. Dunson. I'm not denying
The
it.
tally'll show we're 300 or 400 heads short. And you killed Dan Adams as sure as if you'd shot him.
I know I did. I know it. And I'd give my right arm...
Stealing sugar like a kid. Well, they whip kids to teach 'em better.
They what?
Cherry, Teeler, tie him to that wagon wheel.
No. I was wrong, awful wrong, Mr. Dunson, but nobody's going to whip me.
Turn around, Conley.
Don't raise that whip, Mr. Dunson.
Turn around or you'll get it across the eyes.
Don't do it, Mr. Dunson, I tell you. Don't. Matt.
Sorry, Conley. He'd have shot you through the heart.
Just as sure as you're standing there. Well, you shot him, Matt. Take care of him. As for the rest of you, there's 1,000 heads still to round up. Get at it. Well, Groot, go ahead and say it.
Well, since you give me leave, I will. You was wrong, Mr. Dunson.
Oh, after Pat patches up that arm, put Conley on a horse and give him rations and send him home.
The stampede had cost us close to 400 head and 3 of our wagons. Wagons filled with food. Next day we got rain. Rain steady for 10 days, and rain does something to you. Rain and short rations and Tom Dunson. The men was getting awful near mutiny, and Tom knew it. He just kept watching them all the time.
Shut up, Taylor. He's coming. Dunson.
What's on your mind, Teeler?
It's this lousy muck. A man can't eat this kind of food 3 times a day.
He's right, Mr. Dunson. After we lost the grub wagons, we should have turned back.
But we didn't turn back, Laredo. And even if we had, I couldn't replace what was lost. I'm broke. I got nothing to buy with. So we're on short rations and bad coffee, and we're going to be until we finish the drive. And we're going to finish it.
Not me, Mr. Dunson.
Who said that?
I said it. Me, Buck Mailer. I'm heading south. I'm leaving now, and the Mexicans coming with me.
Senor Dunson, I think I die anyway. So if I die, I go south to die. At least my people can find my grave and maybe put some flowers on it.
There was an agreement made when you men signed on. I'm going to hold you to it.
How?
I don't want to have to kill you, Mailer.
You're not going to get a chance.
Who else is quitting? All right. I'll get back to the herd. There's 2 quitters to be buried. I'll read over them in the morning.
Fill a man full of lead. Stick him in the ground and then read words at him.
What's the matter, Laredo?
When you kill a man, Cherry, why try to read the Lord in as a partner on the job?
Where are you going, Matt?
To see Dunson. Alone.
What do you want, Matt?
That shooting. You didn't have to do that.
You joined in.
Yeah, when they both drew on you, but I still thought you were wrong.
Look, I'm telling you now...
Don't tell me what to think. I'll take your orders about work, but not about what to think.
You think I was to blame for what's happened?
Just as sure as you're standing there.
Get on your horse and ride herd.
Not till that night did I know Tom Dunson had been shot. One of the deserters had hit him in the leg. I found him alone, trying to get his boot off. Got a hole through your leg, huh? Here. Here's some stuff I better pour on it.
How did you know?
Oh, I'm sitting in the wagon there watching you suffer. Went clean through, huh? Well, ain't as bad as it should be.
You too? What do you got to say?
Nothing. If I did, you wouldn't listen. Now hold still while I pour this stuff on. Hurt, huh? I better give you a mite more. Now, if you'll quit your squalling, I got some news for you.
Well?
We're shy 3 men. Teela, Laredo, and Bill Davis are gone.
Gone? Where?
I don't know. We're missing cartridges, flour, and a mite of salt.
Tell Matt to come here. No, wait. Get Cherry Valance, now.
Yeah, I know this, Skip, Mr. Dunson. So does every man in camp.
I want you to bring him back, Cherry. Take Grant and Mac.
That'll be enough.
Find them.
Supposing they won't come.
Bring them.
Sure. We'll leave right away.
From now on, Groot, this outfit's gonna move. Go tell them that, for me.
And move we did, with Tom driving us every step. The boys all hoped that Teeler and Laredo and Davis would get away, but we was afraid Cherry and Grant was too good, too fast to their guns. Anyways, we kept on driving until...
Well, here's your Red River, Tom. Sure had a lot smaller herd last time we crossed.
1 bull and 3 cows. Well, this looks like as good a place as any to cross over.
Well, why not cross fresh in the morning? We got a pretty tired bunch behind us.
Tired men don't run away.
You can't keep 'em this war out all the rest of the drive.
No, but we can keep 'em this war out till Cherry and Grant get back. After that, nobody will want to run away.
You need sleep, too. You need it bad.
Some nights ago, we lost 3 men. I haven't slept since, and we haven't lost any more men. We're not going to lose another one tonight or from now on. Fletcher, Gus, start marking the river. We'll cross here.
Next morning, 4 riders from the south crossed the Red River and came up to us. Cherry Valance and Grant was back. With them was Teeler and Laredo.
Teeler and Laredo, huh? Sent you out after 3 of them, Cherry. Where's Davis?
Well, Davis figured he'd rather fight. Made a good one of it for a while.
You 2 signed on for the drive. Signed on to finish it.
That's right, we did.
We didn't figure
You stole food and cartridges. Besides being deserters, you're common thieves.
I know what you're going to do to us, Dunson, but first I want to tell you something.
Go ahead.
You're crazy. You were all right when we started this drive, but you're crazy now.
You finished?
No. You want to get this herd to market? Well, so do all of us. There's a good way to Abilene. But you won't listen to that. No. You want to drive into Missouri when you've got the high-low and Jack against you. I shouldn't have run away. I should have stayed and put a bullet in you.
Anything to add to that, Laredo?
Nothing. You can send for your Bible and read over us after you shut us down.
I'm not gonna shoot you. I'm gonna hang you.
No, Tom, no, you're not.
Who'll stop me?
I will.
Don't reach, Mr. Dunson. I got 2 guns in back of you.
Throw me that rope, Cherry. Take his gun and tie his hands. Teeler, Laredo, you want to finish this job?
Where to?
Kansas. Abilene.
Who's heading it?
I am.
What about Dunson?
He stays. We're taking the herd.
That's good enough for me.
All right, what about you others?
How will you, Mac?
Groot?
Oh, I don't know.
What's the matter, Groot? Scared? What can I do? No gun and my arms tied.
I've been with you a lot of years, Mr. Dunson, and right or wrong, all is done like you said. Got to be kind of a habit with me, I guess. So that's why I'm staying with you.
Go with him.
Thanks. Thanks for making it easy on me. All right, Matt.
Tom, we're going to leave you here with food and your gun and a horse. Don't come after us alone, Tom. There's more than 30 men with me who'll be glad to kill you.
You'll do better to let them kill me now.
You men, throw that herd on the trail and start driving. If there's any chance, Tom, any chance at all, we'll get your cattle to Abilene.
I'll catch up with you, Matt. I don't know when or how, but I'll catch up with you. Every time you turn around, expect to see me. 'Cause one time you'll turn around and I'll be there. I'm gonna kill you, Matt.
So we left Dunson staring out after us. We felt his eyes on us long after we couldn't see him no more. We took his herd away from him and we went on. Nobody saying nothing about it. But all of us knowing that one day he'd catch up.
We pause now for station identification. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Before we present the third act of Red River, it's a pleasure to introduce our guest tonight, a charming young actress, Maggie Sheridan. We're delighted to have you with us, Maggie.
Thank you, Mr. Keeley. I'm happy to be here. And especially tonight, because it gives me an opportunity to congratulate John Wayne in person on his great performance in Wake of the Red Witch.
Yes, John has certainly made a hit in Republic's new melodrama of the South Seas. He's right at home in the role of a tough, adventurous sea captain.
He has to be tough, doesn't he, to cope with Luther Adler, who plays the revengeful ship owner. The bitter feud between those two really makes a hair-raising story.
Yes, the hardiest adventure fan will be satisfied with a thrilling action in Wake of the Red Witch. And romance seekers won't be disappointed either.
No, not with Gail Russell as the French heroine Angelique. She's well named, Mr. Keeley, because she looks like an angel. Especially in that candlelight scene at the piano.
Yes, I remember that scene. It's a charming one, too.
The studio gowned her perfectly in an off-the-shoulder white evening dress. Just the dress, Mr. Kennedy, to set off that dreamy Lux complexion of hers.
Well, Miss Sheridan, I can see I don't have to sell you on the importance of Lux soap care.
Oh, I should say not. I've been a Lux fan for a long time. Who wouldn't be when 9 out of 10 top Hollywood stars depend on Lux soap facials to keep their skin just right for the camera?
There's a reason why this fragrant white soap is the choice of lovely women everywhere. Lux soap facials really make skin lovelier. In recent tests, skin specialists found actually 3 out of 4 complexions became softer, smoother, in a short time. Thanks, Miss Maggie Sheridan, for coming tonight, and for reminding us that Lux toilet soap is Hollywood's own beauty soap, the right care for delicate skin.
It was a pleasure, Mr. Kennedy.
Here's our producer, Mr. William Keeley.
The curtain rises on the third act of Red River, starring John Wayne as Tom Dunson, Joanne Drew as Tess, and Walter Brennan as Groot.
We took Tom Dunson's herd away from him. With Matt Garth out front, started the haul for Abilene.
Why don't you say it, Groot? What's on your mind?
Same as is on your mind and everybody else's. Him, Dunson. Matt, he'd be a fool to come along, wouldn't he? Most likely he'd go for help. Get a bunch of men together, huh?
Nearest town, San Felipe.
Yeah. It'll take him at least 4 days, and 4 more to get back on our trail. So we got an 8-day lead on him. The men are scared, Matt, snarling and snapping at their own shadows. What do you think will happen when he does come back?
I don't know. We couldn't let him hang Taylor in Laredo.
You ain't sorry you done it?
He was wrong. Hope I'm right. And I hope there's a railroad in Abilene.
6 days later, Taylor come racing back from where he'd been scouting up ahead. He was carrying an arrow.
Comanches, man. This here's Comanche arrow.
Where'd you find it?
Pulled it out of a steer, one of the strays. Tracks lead north.
Well, do we go on?
Which would you rather have, Laredo? What's behind or what might be ahead? Jerry.
Yeah?
You and Gus ride on ahead, 10 or 12 miles maybe, enough to give warning. When you got something to tell us, come back. Meantime, we start carrying rifles.
2 more days. Comanches ahead of us and Dunson behind us. And not a word yet from Cherry. Then early the next morning, still dark it was, Gus come riding in the camp like a wild man.
Women and coffee. I seen them.
Crazy, wilder than a sage hand. Oh, where's Cherry? What happened to Cherry?
Yeah, nothing's happened to him. Women! I
bread, biscuits and beans and coffee. Terry's still there.
Oh, stop that fool talk. What happened?
Yeah, yesterday afternoon, about 15 miles north. A whole wagon train of them heading for Nevada.
Wagon train?
Yeah, belongs to some man named Donegal. Gonna start a gambling hall in Nevada. You should see what's in them wagons. Dancing girls and dice tables and cases full of liquor.
Oh, come on, show us the way. Oh, wait, what about the Comanches?
Yeah, Comanches. Oh, them. Not a sign of Matt coming or going.
The news made a heap of difference. The boys forgot about Dunson, forgot how wore out they was, and how hungry for food that wasn't all beef. We made a full 10 miles that day. Next day, we pushed even harder. Till over a ridge, we heard shooting and screaming. The wagon train wasn't far off, only them Comanches had beat us to it. It was real rough for a while, but with women in that wagon train, we'd have tore into all the engines in the territory. As the fighting was tailing off, I seen Matt with one of the girls. He was getting an arrow out of her arm.
What are you so mad about? It's my arm that's got the arrow, not yours.
Stop talking. If you'd kept down like I told you, you wouldn't have got hit. This is gonna hurt.
Like they say, this'll hurt you more than it does me.
No, this'll hurt you.
You're right, it did.
All right, hold this cloth now while I...
It's too bad to put you to so much trouble.
Yeah.
I asked you before, why are you so mad? Is it because of your cattle? Cattle Cherry told me about might run off? Or maybe you don't like the idea of helping a bunch of...
A bunch of what?
Yeah, that's what I thought you thought.
How many men in this train?
9.
Women?
20. Most of them will be working for Donegal when he opens
I'll
up...
find out about moving you to one of the wagons.
Don't go. At least not until I've done something I've been wanting to do.
Well?
That's what I wanted to do. Thanks.
Her name was Tess. Tess Millay. That night she called me over to a wagon and she started asking me about Matt. And since I figured it didn't matter much one way or the other, I told her about him and about Dunson.
So that's the story.
Now you know about Matt Garth.
No wonder he's like he is.
How is he?
Disillusioned? Not trusting anybody? Scared, maybe. What would you do now if you were me?
If I was you? But I ain't you. Say, how far do you think you'd get with a push like mine?
I'd like to talk to him if he'll talk to me.
Well, I'm hoping we ain't going to be here but a few more hours.
But it's going to storm.
Morning at the latest, we should be gone.
I still want to talk to him.
I'll go see what I can do.
Who is it? Who is it?
Who said I'd find you out here?
You.
I want to talk to you. You're shaking. He thought I was Dunson.
How'd you know that?
Groot told me. It makes things clearer. It helps.
What helps?
I know how you feel. I'm scared, too. That's why I'm talking, because it's the best thing to do when you feel that way. Oh, please, you can tell me to mind my own business if you'd like, and if it'd help any, go on, hit me like I did you.
Well, I guess I had it coming.
Matt, about Dunson. Why does he think that way?
Well, because he's got a place where he'd take an empty land, see? Made it the biggest ranch in the state of Texas, fought to keep it. And then...
Well?
After he'd gotten what he'd been after for so long, he finds it's worth nothing. So he started this drive. Everyone said he couldn't make it. He'd never get there. He was the only one who believed we could.
I see.
Well, Dunson had to believe it. He started him from Missouri, and all he knew was he had to get there. And then I took the herd away from him.
You love him, don't you? He must love you. And that wouldn't be hard, loving you. When did a woman kiss you last, Matt? Did you like that?
I've always been kind of slow in making up my mind.
Maybe I can help.
We left that night. Rain and mud. And going awful slow. Weather like this, Dunson would gain on us. And I wondered, would Donegal's wagon train meet up with him, and would he meet up with a girl like Matt had?
Hey, Donegal, get out of that wagon. We got company again.
What's that? Company? Well, howdy, strangers. Welcome to Donegal's Cafe, on the march.
My name is Dunson. You see anything of a trail herd through here?
Well, now, I should say we did.
When?
Over a week ago. They helped us out when the Indians hit us. We've been patching up before moving on.
How far ahead are they?
Be, 9 days tomorrow morning. Well, we're about ready to eat, mister. Be glad to feed you.
Oh, thank you. We'll stop here for a while.
I'll take care of Mr. Dunson myself.
How'd you know my name?
We can talk about that later. My wagon's over there. I believe it's your beef we'll be eating.
And who told you that?
The man you promised to kill.
Did he tell you that, too?
You're tired, aren't you? And hungry and just a little bit irritable. You'll feel better after you eat, Mr. Dunson. More coffee, Mr. Dunson? There's even brandy. Well, what are you looking at?
How did you get that away from him? That bracelet.
I stole it.
How did you get it?
I got it in the rain. 8 nights ago, before he took off with your herd.
I'm wondering whether to believe you.
I don't care whether you do or not. You still intend to kill him, don't you?
Oh. So he went off and left you. You in love with him?
I thought you'd ask that. Can a woman love a man who'd go off and leave her?
Well, she shouldn't.
I wanted to go with him. He wouldn't take me. Said I wasn't strong enough to go, and nothing I could say or do could make him change his mind. Oh, but I wanted to go with him. So much that
I know.
How would you know? Oh, I suppose other people have felt that way before.
They have.
Why do you want to kill him, Mr. Dunson?
Because he's a thief. I picked him up in the brush 14 years ago and taught him all I could. He knew what I was planning. He knew that someday it'd all be his. His land, his cattle, everything. Even talked of a woman. A woman who could bear him sons. A woman like you.
Why did you want him to have a son?
Because I'd built something. Built it with my own hands, and I can't live forever. I thought I had a son, but I haven't. And I want one.
I'm sorry for you, Mr. Dunson.
Stand up.
What?
Stand up and turn around.
Don't tell me what to do.
Oh, I apologize for my manners.
Well?
I don't even know your name.
Millay. Tess Millay.
Well, Miss Millay, I've got a deal to offer you.
What kind of a deal?
Half of everything I have for a son.
Half of everything you've got.
That's what I said.
Marriage?
Yeah?
All right. But only if you stop now. Stop now and go back where you came from.
I thought so. Then there's no deal.
No.
When did you fall in love with him?
When I first saw him, I guess. When did you fall in love with her?
Who?
The girl you left, walked out on.
Did he tell you that?
You told me. You knew how I felt when he left me. She must have felt the same way when you left her. Or can't you remember?
I can remember.
I hope so. Because I want you to think about it while I ask you something. While I ask you to let me go on with you.
You know what you're saying?
Oh, please, I want to go with you, please.
All right.
Thank you.
You have a gun there, haven't you? You're going to try to kill me.
I'd thought about it.
Why don't you use it?
Would there be any use going if I did?
We'll start in half an hour.
Where Dunson was, we didn't know. 2 miles behind us at 200. It was 100 days now since the drive had started. This was Kansas. But no sign of nothing human, and everybody beginning to believe there wasn't no railroad after all.
You know, I've been thinking that Abilene just ain't. We probably missed it.
Probably keep going clear up to Canada. We'll be driving herd up and down icebergs yet.
Yeah.
We'll find it. It's got to be there.
And if it ain't?
Keep driving until we find it.
Or until Dunson finds us.
Hey, wait a minute. I heard something.
Yeah, I don't hear nothing, only the...
Hey, Matt's right. I heard it, too, like a...
It's a train.
Railroad! Railroad!
Like heroes we was riding that day into Abilene. People cheering and yelling. And us the mangiest, dirtiest bunch of cowpokes that ever come into town. But they were starved for beef. We was bringing it to them. The day was August 14, 1865. The end of the first drive on the Chisholm Trail. By night, the herd was sold. There was a buyer from the east, a fella named Melville.
Here you are, Mr. Garth. Check made out to Thomas Dunson for $50,000. Rest to be paid when the tally's finished at $21 a head, less what I'm giving you now to pay off your men. They'll be celebrating, I suppose.
Well, they got a right to, Mr. Melville.
Yeah, there's 3 times in a man's life when he's got a right to yell at the moon. When he marries, when his children come, and when he finishes a job he had to be crazy to start. Tell me, when do you expect to be leaving here?
I don't exactly know.
You're going to wait for Dunson, huh? I've been talking to some of your men. Isn't the money and the fact that you got here, isn't that going to make any difference to him?
No, I don't think so.
Well, couldn't you...
Run away?
Yes. Or couldn't I talk to him?
No, I'd still have to talk to him after that. Good night, Mr. Melville.
Matt, I got here as soon as I could. Groot told me where you were.
Tess.
Dunson's camped a couple of miles outside of town. He says you'll be here in the morning just after sunup. He says he's going to kill you.
How would you know all that unless you've been with him?
Matt, did you hear what I said? He's here. He hasn't changed his mind.
I didn't think he would.
He saw the railroad and I thought it might make a difference, but it didn't. Nothing would. He's like something you can't move. Even I've gotten to believe it's got to happen, your meeting. I came here to beg you to run away, but it wouldn't do any good. You're too much like him. You're... Oh, Matt.
Tomorrow morning. It's a long way off, Tess. Tomorrow morning.
He's coming, Matt! Dunson! Dunson's here!
What are you going to do, Matt?
Meet him out there.
He knows
Alone?
you're here in Melville's office. He's riding up now, Matt. Dunson and about 10 others.
All right, just one thing, all of you. This is my fight. The rest of you stand clear.
Matt, for the last time, what's the matter with you men? You're his friends, aren't you? Don't you know Matt has no intention of defending himself?
That's right, Mr. Melville. If I haven't any such notions. Must be a back door to this place. Supposing you show me where it is.
Stay where you are, Matt.
I've been waiting for you, Dunson.
I said I'd kill you. I'm going to.
Mr. Dunson?
Don't draw, Jerry.
You got business with me, Cherry. I'll take care of you later.
Mr. Dunson, I've said it for the last time. Draw or...
You see that? Matt nicked him. Laredo, Gus, drag Cherry out of the way before he really gets hurt.
I'm waiting for you, Dunson. Why don't you come closer?
I'm walking right up to you. Won't anything make a man out of you? You told me once never to take your gun away from you. Well, I'm going to do it now.
So you can hang me, Mr. Dunson?
Hang you, why, you yellow-bellied chicken-livered...
Dunson's thrown away his gun.
I don't need a gun to take care of you. I can still do it with my hands. Now get up. Get up before this whole town around...
You'll what?
That's it, Matt. Tear his ears off. For 14 years I've been scared. But it's going to be all right now. It's going to be all right.
Stop it!
Better get back, miss. Get back. Them two's mad and hot.
Oh, I'm mad, too. Good and mad. Give me that gun. Oh, you fools. You stupid fools. Stop it! Stop it, I said.
Careful with that gun. You might hurt somebody.
Oh, you, Tom Dunson, pretending you're going to kill him. Why, it's the last thing in the world you... And you, Matt Garth, getting your face all beaten up and all bloody. You ought to see how silly you look, like something the cat dragged. Stay still.
Yes, ma'am.
What a fool I've been, expecting trouble for days when anybody with half a mind would know you two'd never... Well, what are you looking at, Dunson? It took somebody else to shoot at him, didn't it? You wouldn't do it. All right, then. Go ahead. Beat each other crazy. Maybe it'll put some sense in both of you. Go ahead. Go on. Do it.
Matt,
You better marry this girl.
Yeah, I think Hey, when are you going to stop telling people what to do?
Right now. At least as soon as...
When?
Well, as soon as I tell you one thing more.
Well?
When we get back to the ranch, I want you to change the brand. You, Tess, give me that stick over there.
I'd like to give it to you. Would it do some good?
Maybe later. Right now I'm busy. Like this, Matt, see? Here's the Red River D. We'll add a G to it. You don't mind that, do you?
Tom,
Yeah. Now let's see about getting home.
To John Wayne, Joanne Drew, and Walter Brennan, our congratulations on a fine performance. Here they are at the footlights for a curtain call.
Well, thank you, Bill. It was a pleasure to be here.
John, you've had a busy week or two with that stage engagement in What Price Glory.
Yes, it's the first time I've ever been on the stage. We put it on in San Francisco, Long Beach, Pasadena, and several other towns for the benefit of the Purple Heart veterans. We're doing again at Grauman's Chinese Theater here Friday night.
I saw where one critic referred to the show as having $1 million cast.
Well, John Ford staged it, and we have people like Pat O'Brien, Gregory Peck, Marina Harrow, Ward Bond, and many, many others.
Oh, that'll do till another cast comes along.
John, now that you're producing your own pictures, how do you find working on the other side of the street?
Now he knows why producers lose their hair, Bill.
And why some of them lose their shirts.
Joanne, we're delighted to have you here tonight for your first appearance in the Lux Radio Theater.
Thank you, Mr. Keeley. This may be my first appearance here, but I've been a Lux soap fan for a long time. And I especially like the new bath-size cake Lux is making now. It's really grand.
Thank you, Joanne. I'll pass on the good word. Now for next week.
What's the play, Bill?
Well, first I'll tell you the stars. They're Rosalind Russell and Robert Cummings. And the play is that sparkling comedy success from Columbia Pictures, What a Woman. It's a fast-moving romance that's a perfect recipe for an entertaining evening here next Monday.
That sounds like hit material, Bill. Well, good night and good luck.
Good night, and thank you. Viva Brothers Company, the makers of Lux Toilet Soap, join me in inviting you to be with us again next Monday evening when the Lux Radio Theater presents Rosalind Russell and Robert Cummings in What a Woman. This is William Keeley saying goodnight to you from Hollywood.
Walter Brennan appeared through the courtesy of Universal International Studios. Producers of Red Canyon, starring Ann Blythe and Howard Duff. Heard in tonight's cast were Jeff Chandler as Matt, Bernard Phillips as Cherry, Jeff Corey as Teeler, and Jimmy Ogg, Bill Johnstone, Alan Reed, Herbert Butterfield, Willard Waterman, Lillian Baeff, Lou Krugman, Jay Novello, Ed Max, and Eddie Marr. Our play was adapted by S.H. Barnett, and our music was directed by Louis Silvers. Our Lux Radio Theater production of Red River has come to you with the good wishes of the makers of Lux Toilet Soap, Hollywood's own beauty soap. The complexion care used regularly by 9 out of 10 lovely screen stars. This is your announcer, John Milton Kennedy, reminding you to join us again next Monday night to hear What a Woman, starring Rosalind Russell and Robert Cummings. Stay tuned for My Friend Irma, which follows over these same stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Oh, waiter.
Yes, sir?
I'll have a vegetable salad with cottage cheese, some toasted crackers, and a bottle of cold Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yes, sir. Finest beer served anywhere.
proudly presents Screen Directors Playhouse, production Fort Apache, director John Ford, stars John Wayne, Ward Bond. The Hollywood Screen Directors present a footnote to valor, Fort Apache, starring John Wayne and Ward Bond, and introduced by the director of the film, John Ford. Ever since the infant days of motion pictures, a kind of violent chain reaction has been exploding in Hollywood. The source of this rather awesome force is our guest screen director tonight. His explosions have taken the form of such brilliantly directed films as The Informer, Stagecoach, How Green Was My Valley, and tonight's story, Fort Apache. Ladies and gentlemen, the director, Mr. John Ford.
Thank you. I don't know if I'd call Fort Apache an explosion. If I were translating it into sound, I'd say it was a bugle call, brave and distant and a little sad, an echo of the cavalry regiments that galloped to meet adventure on our western plains. Now, here's our film story for the first time on the air, starring John Wayne in his original role of Captain York and Ward Bond as Colonel Thursday, Fort Apache.
This is the story of Fort Apache, of the regiment, the officers and men who manned her. How they lived, how some of them died. Fort Apache was the last frontier, a tiny cavalry outpost in the heart of Indian-infested country. My name is Captain Kirby York. I'd been through enough Indian campaigning to have a healthy respect for the Apache, both as a fighter and as a man. Colonel Owen Thursday, the new commanding officer, was a career man out of headquarters in Washington with a lot of strange ideas about frontier discipline, military science, and the lowly savage Indian.
Gentlemen, I have been ordered to assume command of Fort Apache and to aid the Indian agent Meacham in putting down the uprising caused by the Apache chief, Cochise. While some of our regiments are leading well-publicized campaigns against the great Indian nations, we are asked merely to ward off a few cowardly Digger Indians.
The Apaches, sir, are hardly Digger Indians.
You would scarcely compare them with the Sioux, Captain York.
No, Colonel, I wouldn't. The Sioux raided into Apache territory once. You could follow the Sioux retreat by the bones of their dead.
We'll discuss that some other time, Captain. The immediate point is that Cochise and his Apaches have left the reservation. Our orders are to get them back.
Sir, no troop or squadron or regiment can keep an Apache on a reservation unless he wants to stay there. 5 years ago, we made a treaty with Cochise, and his Apache stayed on the reservation in peace.
For how long, Captain?
Until the Indian agent, Meacham, was sent out by the Indian ring. He cheated them, degraded them, until they couldn't take it anymore.
Cochise broke his treaty.
Yes, rather than stay here and see his nation wiped out.
The political aspects of the situation do not concern me, Captain York. We have a military job to do, which I am sure we will accomplish with glory.
This is hardly a country for glory, Colonel, but I wish you luck, sir.
Any questions?
No questions, sir. For some reason, the few Apaches who had remained on the reservation were extremely quiet. This was unusual. It worried me. But evidently it didn't worry Colonel Thursday, for about a week later I was detailed to escort his daughter out riding for an inspection of the mesa.
Come on, Captain.
Stop this, Thursday.
Well, I beat you.
Shouldn't have raced ahead that way, Miss Thursday.
Why not?
This is Indian country, and I'm responsible for you.
Oh, I'm not afraid. Oh, look, Captain, down there.
Smoke.
Is it an Indian signal?
No, not a signal. That's where our telegraph wires run through to Fort Grant.
Oh.
I've got to ride down this slope and find out. Can you get back alone?
Alone? No, I'm going with you.
Get it. Easy now. Let him have his head.
It's a wagon burning.
Yeah, it's the one we sent out on the patrol, the telegraph line. Don't look. Stay here.
But the men.
They're dead. Apaches.
Oh.
Come on, let's get out of here. We've got to get back to the fort. Colonel Thursday, sir.
Now what, Captain York?
Repair wagon. Burned.
And the troopers?
Spread eagled on the wheels. Roasted.
Oh, no. Where'd it happen?
Near Blue Mesa, sir. They cut the telegraph wires.
Captain Collingwood, hand me that map.
Yes, sir.
Now, show me the place, York.
Here, sir. On this low spot between the hills.
Captain York, send out a wagon of detail to repair the wires and bring back the bodies.
Yes, sir. Sergeant Mulcahy.
Yes, sir.
Assemble a platoon from Company A.
A platoon? I said a detail, Captain. An officer and 4 men.
But those Apaches may still be around, Colonel.
I am running a command, not a debating society. Captain York, you will personally take the detail and leave at once.
Very good, sir.
If I know Apaches, Colonel, you're sending those men to a certain death.
I know what I am doing, Collingwood. And now you assemble a platoon immediately.
You mean the platoon is going to trail a wagon?
Correct, at a striking distance. Surely, Collingwood, even you have heard of the trap as a military weapon.
Yes, sir. I don't like this, Captain. Send us out like this alone.
Neither do I.
What do you think, sir? You think the devils will be waiting for us?
Can't tell. Apaches are tricky. Take it easy now. The wire breaks just around this bend.
Right. Oh, right there. Mother of mercy. 2 of our own lads burned alive. Why, you devils, you mother...
Quiet, Mulcahy. They've been back. They've stripped off the men's shoes.
The barbarians. I'll make them play with my own hands.
All right, men, quick. Get out those blankets and that wire and work fast. I know Apaches. They'll be back.
Pete.
Yeah, we're going.
Go for it. Get up on that pole and fix that wire break.
All right, we're going.
I'll take care of our men myself.
I'm going up that rock and have a look. They're around here. I can feel it.
Any sign of them?
Nothing yet, but hurry it up. They know we're here.
Down! Get down! Get down off that pole, man! Come on, let's get out of here. But the wire break, it's not fixed yet. You haven't got a chance. All right, men, let's go. Come on. Let's go. There must be 100 of them. The outlaws, man. We're like clay pigeons out here in the open. Faster, we got to outrun them. It's our only chance. Those devils. Return fire. They'll not take us alive. What kind of trap did the blasted colonel bring us into anyhow? Listen. Look at the dust, the column. It's the truth. It's the regiment. Glory be! Colonel Thursday and the regiment.
To the Screen Directors Playhouse production of Fort Apache, starring John Wayne and Ward Bond, and introduced by the director of the film, Mr. John Ford. You are in Atlantic City. The boardwalk is crowded with strollers. You, foot-weary and breathless from a marathon walk, pause to wipe the perspiration from your forehead. The salt air is cooling, but somehow it doesn't satisfy your thirst. There must be a place nearby where you can... Wait a second. What's that little blue sign in the cafe window? Oh, brother. Pabst Blue Ribbon. Finest beer served. Anywhere. Yes, during these hot August days, you're just one of millions of men all over America to whom that Pabst Blue Ribbon sign means welcome relief. For Pabst Blue Ribbon does something more than quench your thirst. It gives you taste. Blue Ribbon taste. The kind of taste you can't get anywhere else in the world except in that Pabst Blue Ribbon bottle. And, fortunately, you can get that Blue Ribbon bottle all over the world. Yes, you hear it everywhere. In Atlantic City and Appleton and Ann Arbor and Atlanta. Pabst Blue Ribbon. Finest beer served. Anywhere. Your taste will tell you why. Now, back to our Screen Directors Playhouse production of Fort Apache, starring John Wayne and Ward Bond.
What was left of Diablo's raiding party after the battle, we took back to the reservation at Claw Springs. But that didn't solve the problem. They were just a handful. There were still Cochise in the entire Apache nation across the Rio Bravo in Mexico. But right here at Claw Springs was the root of the trouble. The unscrupulous Indian agent, Meacham.
Mr. York, how good to see you.
Captain York Meacham.
Oh, yes, of course. You soldier boys and your titles.
And this is Colonel Thursday.
Ah, another exile in the wilderness.
Mr. Meacham, a band of Indians left this reservation.
Yes, the ungrateful dogs. I treat them well.
Meacham, you drove Cochise and the Apaches off this reservation by starving and degrading them.
Why,
Giving them whiskey instead of beef. Trinkets instead of blankets.
But
Cochise did the only thing a decent man could do. He left and took his people with him across the Rio Bravo into Mexico.
Why, he broke his treaty, and I demand you soldier boys bring him back by force if necessary.
Any demands you wish to make, Mr. Meacham, will be made through official channels.
Well, I only...
Captain York, what's in those boxes?
They're marked books, sir. More likely cheap whiskey.
No, he's lying.
Open them and see, Captain.
Mulcahy.
Right, sir.
You're the colonel.
Here, what are you doing? You have no right to...
Oh, it's a miracle, sir. The books have turned into whiskey in a barrel.
I have a government license to keep a medicinal supply of...
What should we do with the books, Colonel?
Destroy them. Mulcahy.
Yes, sir.
And what about these Winchester rifles, sir?
Destroy them, too.
No, you can't. This is private property. You have no right
Meacham, you're a blackguard, a liar, a hypocrite, and the stench in the nostrils of an honest man. If it were in my power, I'd hang you from the nearest tree and leave your carcass for the buzzards. But as a representative of the United States government, you are entitled to the protection of my command. But that is all. Good day, sir.
You sent for me, Colonel?
Sit down, Captain York.
Yes, sir.
Now, about this Cochise. We've got to bring him back. In 6 campaigns, he's outgeneraled us, outfought us, and outrun us.
That's just the point. There aren't enough troops in the territory to make him come back. But one man, a man he trusts, might persuade him. Cochise knows me.
You're a fool, Captain. Assuming you found Cochise, his men would cut you to pieces.
Well, that's possible, sir, but I've never lied to Cochise, and if you'll assure him decent treatment for his people...
A carbine against his spine might be more persuasive.
Oh, I'd have to go unarmed, sir.
Have you forgotten what happened to the men on the repair wagon?
Well, I can't fight my way to Cochise. Other men have tried that.
If we could manage to get him back to United States soil... Well, you have my permission, Captain. How many men will you need?
1, sir. Sergeant Beaufort. He knows the country. He was born in Mexico. I'd like to leave at once, sir.
Proceed, Captain, and take your sergeant. I hope you make it.
Three days, Sergeant Beaufort, and we haven't seen a sign of an Apache.
See, but they have seen us.
You can be sure of that.
Captain, look. Look over against that hill.
A signal mirror. Another one answering from this side. Yeah, they're here, all right. We're between them. Come on, Beaufort, smile.
It's too late to do anything else.
They must be camped right above us.
But it's not always right above her. Look up. Look up on the rocks.
Holy smokes. Covered with Apaches.
On both sides of the pass, thousands of them.
Looks like they were expecting us. Keep smiling, Beaufort. We're going in.
Captain, look at those rifles they're carrying.
Winchester 7-shot repeaters. Our friend Meacham.
Looks like every chief in the tribe is here.
Eyes straight ahead, Beaufort.
Is that him?
That's Cochise in front. This is close enough.
Good luck, sir.
Buenas tardes, Cochise. We come in peace.
Buenas tardes, friend. Captain York, you got back.
Well?
Cochise has crossed the river, Colonel. He's coming in with all these people. He wants to talk peace.
He's back on American soil?
Yes, sir.
Good. Captain, the regiment moves out at dawn.
The regiment? But I promised Cochise we'd meet him alone, unarmed. You and me and Meacham.
Why, Meacham?
He insists Meacham be present.
Very well. You will prepare your troops to march at dawn.
But Cochise will think I've tricked him.
Exactly. We have tricked him. We've tricked him into returning to American soil, and I intend to see that he stays here.
Colonel, I gave Cochise my word.
Your word to a breech-clouted savage? To an illiterate, uncivilized murderer and treaty breaker? There is no question of honor, sir, between an American officer and Cochise.
There is to me, Colonel. You can't send out the regiment.
Captain York, so long as you are in my command, you will obey my orders. The regiment will march at dawn. Is this approximately where you were to meet Cochise, Captain York?
Just about.
Halt the troops.
Oh! Oh!
Oh! Captain, I propose to deploy our men, sending 2 troops to the north and 1 to the east.
The Apaches, sir, are neither north nor east, and they're not in their encampment. If you'd been watching the dust swirls to the south, as most of us were, you'd know they're over there, just coming over the ridge. That's Cochise now, sir. They're about 4 to our 1, most of them with Winchester rifles. Do we talk, Colonel, or fight?
You seem easily impressed by numbers, Captain. However, I'll honor your word to Cochise. Where's Mr. Meacham? Meacham!
Here, sir.
Mr. Meacham, we are riding out to talk with Cochise.
Oh, he's not the kind you can talk to, Colonel. I warned
you. You will
that
accompany us, Mr. Meacham. Come on, Captain.
Hup! Hup!
Take over, York.
I have the honor, illustrious chief, of presenting the commander of our regiment, Colonel Thursday. We have come to talk.
The Apaches are a great nation. Proud, never conquered. But it's not good for a nation always to fight. Young men die, old ones hungry. So I bring my people to a reservation. Then this man come make trouble.
He means you, Meacham.
He lied.
Evil man who make my people bad. He's worse than war. He starved my children.
No.
He killed my people.
No, it's not true.
Send him away and we will talk peace. If not, there will be more war.
Are you threatening us?
Colonel, don't interrupt. It's an insult.
And for each of us you kill, 10 white men will die.
Silence! I did not come here to be threatened. Cochise, I find you without honor. That government which I represent orders you to return to the reservation by dawn, or we will attack.
getting light, Colonel. What do you think?
I think they've had their chance. Now it's time they had their lesson. Hand me your binoculars, Captain.
Yes, sir.
I don't see them. Not a one down in the pass.
They're there, sir, but not down in the pass, up on the rim rock.
How can you know that?
Because if I were Cochise, that's where I'd take up my position.
What about that dust cloud at the far end of the pass?
It's an Apache trick, sir. Women and children dragging mesquite to make us ride through that narrow pass into an ambush.
Very ingenious, Captain. You make me suspect that your Cochise studied under Alexander the Great at least. Gentlemen, mount your troops. We charge through the pass in a column of fours.
Mounted in fours? Colonel, that'd be suicide. I tell you, they're up in those rocks on either side of the pass. It's an ambush.
Captain York, there is no room in this regiment for a coward. You will remain on the ridge in safety with the supply wagons.
Yes, sir. A charge in fours? Thursday was insane. I took Sergeant Mulcahy with me and wheeled the wagons back up onto the ridge.
Roll over!
The regiment started forward at the half gallop. The faces of the men set and grim.
There they go, Captain. The finest lads I ever soldiered.
First the A Company. Down into the pass. They didn't have a chance, but they kept charging through. C Company. C Company. Horses, men, racing, shooting, tumbling crazily as they fell screaming.
Captain, look! Colonel Thursby's been hit!
Keep me covered, Mulcahy! Colonel Thursby!
York, hug me on your horse.
Here, follow me, Colonel. I'm dug in on the ridge top.
No, Captain. Your saber. I must rejoin my command.
There is no command. It's wiped out. We're all that's left of it, don't you understand? Passing the wagons on the ridge.
Then back to your ridge, Captain. We'll charge in fours.
Come back, Colonel. Come back. Come back. Hurry, Captain, over here.
Thanks, Mulcahy.
Don't quick. You'll draw their fire.
What difference does it make? Wiped out. Wiped out. Every man.
The devils. The murdering devils.
It's all over.
No. Here they come.
The whole Apache nation.
They've got a rifle apiece and 40 rounds, Captain.
No, wait.
Make 'em count. Every one for the men that's gone.
No, Sergeant. Hold your fire.
They've stopped. Cochise is riding out to us.
Here. Take my gun.
But, Captain...
I gave Cochise my word. I'll meet him unarmed.
White Colonel say Cochise without honor. White Colonel dead. I give you your flag.
For a moment, Cochise stared at me. Then he wheeled his horse, and like a great wind, the Apaches rode away. Yes, he gave us back our flag. The regimental guidon we'd carried into battle. Now the regiment of Fort Apache has been reformed. Names are all changed. Those others haven't been forgotten because they haven't died. They're living right out there. Tomorrow when we take to the field, they'll be riding with us. Collingwood, O'Rourke, Mulcahy, Beaufort, yes, and Thursday. Their names may change and their faces, but they're the regiment and the regular army, now and 50 years from now.
heard the last act of Fort Apache. In a moment, our stars, John Wayne and Ward Bond, and screen director John Ford will return to the microphone. Out here in Hollywood, they sell maps to sightseers that show where the movie stars live. Now, if you could only step inside those homes instead of just driving by, you would find that most of the picture people lead normal, everyday lives, just like you and me. On these hot summer weekends, for instance, the chances are you'd find them out in the backyard under a shady tree with their neighbors and friends, playing gin rummy, or just chatting over bottles of cold Pabst Blue Ribbon beer. Everything in perfect taste. Blue Ribbon taste. And it's that Blue Ribbon taste that makes this internationally famous beer so popular here in Hollywood. We happen to have a movie star here in the studio who I think will verify that statement. The star of our radio program, Mr. John Wayne. John, is it true that Pabst Blue Ribbon is a big favorite in Hollywood?
Well, offhand, I'd say it's quite popular.
What do you mean, offhand?
I mean, I have no way of knowing except that I see Pabst Blue Ribbon served in a lot of Hollywood homes.
Well, do you serve it in your own home?
I sure do. It's a good beer. Now, how about a word from the director of Fort Apache, if Ward Bond will bring Pappy over here?
What do you mean, bring Pappy over here? That's the trouble with you actors. Just because I'm a director, you think I'm afraid of a microphone.
Well, Pappy?
Well, I am, and that's why I'm going to say good night and get out of here.
There speaks one of the world's greatest directors.
Come on, Pappy.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
Good night.
And good night to you, John Wayne, Ward Bond, and John Ford. Don't forget, tomorrow is the beginning of another weekend. 2 whole days to relax and have fun. You'll be planning picnics and backyard barbecues. Just be sure there's plenty of Pabst Blue Ribbon cooling in your icebox. Tomorrow morning, ask your dealer for a case. In cans or bottles, Pabst Blue Ribbon is the finest beer served anywhere. Your taste will tell you why. Next week on Screen Directors Playhouse, Pabst Blue Ribbon presents Jezebel, starring Betty Davis. Fort Apache was presented through the courtesy of Argosy Pictures, producers of Mighty Joe Young. John Wayne will be seen shortly as the star of the John Ford Argosy production, She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. Ward Bond will soon be seen in Paramount's new Bing Crosby picture, Riding High. John Ford is currently directing the 20th Century Fox production, Front and Center, starring Dan Daly and Colleen Townsend. Included in tonight's cast were Sharon Douglas, Paul McVeigh, Tony Barrett, Eddie Fields, Pat McGeehan, Lou Merrill, and Don Stanley. Fort Apache was adapted for radio by Warren Lewis, and original music was composed and conducted by Henry Russell. Screen Directors Playhouse was produced by Howard Wiley, with dramatic direction by Bill Karn. Portions of tonight's broadcast were transcribed. Listen again next week when Pabst Blue Ribbon presents
Screen Directors Playhouse. Production, Jezebel. Director, William Wyler. Star, Betty Davis.
Screen Directors Playhouse is brought to you by the Pabst Brewing Company of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Newark, New Jersey, and Peoria, Illinois, and sent your way with the best wishes of the Pabst Blue Ribbon dealers from coast to coast. James Wallington speaking.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
The NBC Theater presents
Screen Directors Guild assignment, production Stagecoach, director John Ford, stars John Wayne, Claire Trevor, Ward Bond.
This is the Screen Directors Guild production of the United Artists motion picture classic, Stagecoach, starring John Wayne, Claire Trevor, and Ward Bond, and introducing the director of the film, John Ford. before we begin our story, here are a few words about the entertainment you will hear tonight and in future weeks at this time. The NBC Theater is proud to welcome the president of the Screen Directors Guild and the eminent director of such films as Variety Girl, The Perils of Pauline, and Taproots, Mr. George Marshall.
Thank you, and good evening. This is the first performance of a series of Screen Directors Guild productions, in which the directors will personally bring you their favorite film assignments, along with the stars who created the original roles. Tonight, your director is John Ford. John, if you remember, is the winner of 5 Academy Awards, the guiding hand behind such great pictures as The Informer, How Green Was My Valley, and, of course, Stagecoach. You're on the set, John.
Thank you, George. And good luck on our first production. Stagecoach is ready to roll. The last time I made that crack was about 10 years ago. When I first had the opportunity of putting on film this Romance of the West. For the cast, the picture offers an array of colorful character types, ripe for the actor's talents. Now the story and the cast are united again. Here is Stagecoach with John Wayne as the Ringo Kid, Claire Trevor as Dallas, and Ward Bond as Doc Boone.
Oh, carry me back to the old prairie, where the coyotes howl and the wind blows free.
In 1885, the stagecoach was the only means of travel on the American frontier. And in those days, no name struck more dread into the hearts of travelers than Geronimo, leader of the warlike Apaches. This, folks, is a story of a party of people who traveled from Tonto to Lordsburg by stagecoach in 1885. It's a story still told by the Indians.
In the land of Arizona, land of the Apache Indian, where the roaming Chiricahua fought the mighty white invader, stood the white man's city, Tonto. Tonto, where the flying wagon that the white man called the stagecoach stopped to take men to the westward, where Geronimo was leader, chief of the Apache Indian nation.
Well, that's how it is, folks. Geronimo's Apaches are on the warpath up ahead, burning every ranch in sight.
Then the question before the party assembled in this stagecoach is, shall we continue?
I say yes. Continue.
But, Mrs. Mallory, should you be traveling in your condition?
My husband is in Apache Wells with his troops. I want to be with him when our baby arrives.
Madam, I am a gambler, and I admire and respect a bold gamble. But aren't you gambling with a life besides your own?
Oh, I forgot to tell you, Mr. Hatfield. We're getting a cavalry escort for Apache Wells.
That settles it. I'm going on.
Count me in, of course, Buck.
All right. I'll go find my shotgun guard.
You don't have to go no further, Buck.
What? Curly! Well, doggone. How are you, Sheriff?
Fine, thanks, and I'll be riding shotgun up next to you this trip, Buck.
You? What for?
The Ringo Kid escaped from prison. I'm looking for him.
The fellow who shot Jed Michael dead?
I hear he's heading for Lordsburg to shoot it out with the 3 Plummer boys, so I'll be right up there next to you, Buck, all the way to Lordsburg.
There she comes. Top of the hill now. There comes the stagecoach. Better stand back a bit, Doc.
Yeah, stand out of the road there, Dallas girl.
Thanks, Doc.
Hail the stage-brush chariot.
Doc, why do I have to leave town? Because all these women here say I have to? I don't want to go to Lordsburg.
No more do I, Dallas.
but you are a lady somewhat too hospitable to gentlemen. And I am a doctor somewhat too hospitable to spirits. We girl are the dregs of Tonto. They send us from their midst. Come, Dallas, be a glorified dreg like me. Hi, Buck. You have acquired 2 more eager passengers.
The engines are rising, Doc.
I thank them for that mark of respect. Tell them they may be seated now. Enter, Dallas.
Thanks, Tom.
Take your place beside the other lady. Then forward. On to Lordsburg!
What you driving through this canyon, Buck?
Well, I aim to be hard to shoot at in case Geronimo's Apaches are in these hills.
I'm with you, Buck. The law.
But that don't make me bulletproof. Down! Kingdom High! Here she comes, Apache!
Keep your shirt on and stop the coach. It ain't Apaches. There's someone up ahead blocking the road with a rifle.
Whoa there! Whoa, whoa!
Here he comes, whoever he is.
What? It's the Ringo Kid.
That's right, Buck. Hiya, Curly.
Ringo.
Didn't expect to find the sheriff riding shotgun.
I was heading for Lordsburg, same as you, Ringo.
Well, my horse went lame, so you got another passenger.
I'll take that rifle first, Ringo.
That's so, Sheriff.
You're under arrest for the murder of Jed Michael.
Sorry, Curly, but this Winchester here says different.
Sorry, Ringo. But if you'll look back up the road a piece, you'll see our escort of United States Cavalry coming up.
Oh.
I'll take that rifle now, Ringo.
Sure, Sheriff. But you better hold on to it. You may need it before we get to Lordsburg.
Thanks. You can get into the coach now.
Much obliged, Sheriff.
Get going, Buck.
Yep! Sooty! Yep! Nelly! Hiya!
So you're the famous Ringo Kid, huh?
My friends call me Ringo. Right name's Henry.
Henry? Why, I remember you. Say, I fixed your arm when you was just a little sprout. You was no higher than a quart of bourbon.
Well, that was my kid brother broke his arm. You did a good job, too, Doc, even if you was drunk.
Well, thank you, son. How's your brother now?
He was murdered.
Oh, no.
Him and my dad, by the 3 Plummer boys.
Well, good luck when you get to Lordsburg, son.
Thanks, Doc.
Mrs. Mallory, you're tired. Would you like to rest your head on my shoulder?
No, thank you. Mr. Hatfield, would you mind if I sat over on your side of the coach?
Not at all, ma'am.
Excuse me.
Yes, of course.
Right here, Mrs. Mallory.
Thank you, Mr. Hatfield.
I must have the plague, huh, Dallas?
You? Oh, no, it's not you.
Have a drink, Hatfield?
No, thank you.
No, thank you, he says. Have a drink, Doc? Yes, thank you.
You're not going to move away from me, are you?
No, Ringo.
Well, I guess I can't expect to break out of prison and into society in the same week.
Shh, she'll hear you.
I guess I'm pretty dumb for sitting down beside a lady like you, Dallas.
A lady?
Thanks for not moving.
Oh, don't, please. Why are you looking at me like that?
Ain't I seen you someplace before?
No, you haven't.
I wish I had, though.
I know you. I know who you are.
I used to be a good cowhand. A few years back. Things happened.
Yes, things happen.
Bottle in a bottle. Drink up, Doc. Drink
Doc's
up.
getting a snoot full.
Things happen. And now they'll take you back to prison.
Not till I finish a job in Lordsburg.
Ringo, I wish you wouldn't.
Wish I wouldn't what?
Oh, nothing. Nothing.
Bottle in a bottle.
Confound that driver. Why doesn't he drive more carefully?
He's playing it smart, Hatfield. He took to the mountains. Apaches don't like snow.
Well, he might have some consideration for Mrs. Mallory and her condition.
Oh,
be all right, Mr. Hatfield. Thank you.
Follow, little bottle, follow.
Apache Wells just ahead.
Follow.
Apache Wells.
Follow, little bottle.
Mr. Hatfield, why didn't my husband and his troops meet us here?
The Wrangler tells me that Captain Mallory has been sent ahead to Lordsburg.
Lordsburg?
Well, we'd better turn around and follow the cavalry escort to Tonto.
But we can't do that.
With Apaches on the warpath, it ain't safe to go through Apache country without escort. I say we ought to turn back.
There's only one way to find out. Take a vote.
What do you say, Mrs. Mallory? On to Lordsburg or back to Tonto?
I want my husband with me when our baby's born.
Doc?
Ain't you forgot this, lady?
You mean Dallas?
Oh, I say go. I've nothing to go back to.
Doc?
Lordsburg. Pass the bottle, pass the bottle.
Ringo?
Ringo's my prisoner. I'm voting his proxy. I say Lordsburg.
Hatfield?
I am at the service of Mrs. Mallory.
Thank you.
Buck?
Well, Lordsburg it is. Well, let's all step inside and get some grub. Looks spry.
You'd better take my arm up these steps, Mrs. Mallory.
Oh, no, thank you. Really, I'm quite... I'm quite... Oh.
Mrs. Mallory.
She's fainted.
I've got her. Dr. Boone. Mrs. Mallory needs your help.
What?
Oh, it's no use. He's drunk. Ringo.
Yeah?
I don't know for sure, but I think you better go inside and start heating some water.
All you want and then some. And then some.
Carry her inside, Mr. Hatfield.
Oh, allow me. Allow me.
I'll carry her myself, you sot.
Thank you, sir.
You drunken swine.
Thank you.
Now, if you'll open the door for me, Dallas.
Yes.
Drunken swine of a doctor.
Doc, honest, ain't you ashamed?
Did I understand that swine to call me a drunken swine?
Oh, I wish I could do something.
There is something you can do, Buck.
Yeah, but what can you do in your condition?
I can drink all of the hot black coffee you can make. I, sir, am a doctor. Now get busy. Get busy.
The NBC Theater is presenting the Screen Directors Guild production of Stagecoach, starring Claire Trevor, John Wayne, and Ward Bond, with screen director John Ford.
Where the coyotes howl and the wind blows free.
Apache Wells, the white man called it. Here the white squaw had her child, while the flying wagon waited while my tribesmen gathered. On the hills and on the desert gathered the Apache warriors, while the white squaw had her child and the flying wagon waited.
Oh, it makes me nervous, being held up like this in Apache country. Just when they're mad at us again.
Quiet, Buck.
Huh?
Someone's coming. Dallas?
Look, it's a little girl.
A girl.
Let me see it. Well, I'll be doggone.
That's real fine, ain't it, Dallas? Real fine.
Oh, yes, Curly. It's fine.
A baby. How? What?
I'll explain it to you sometime, Buck.
Listen, boys. Doc Boone. 3 cheers for Doc Boone. Never mind the 3 cheers. Just pour me 4 fingers instead. I'm thirsty.
Dallas.
Oh.
It's me, Ringo.
Oh.
You oughtn't to be outside here at night alone. Apaches like to pick off strays.
Well, you're here now.
Yeah, I watched you with that baby today. You looked, well, nice.
I just wanted to hold it a minute.
You're visiting in Lordsburg?
I have friends there.
Oh, good.
Ringo, why don't you escape?
I aim to, in Lordsburg.
Why not now? Why not go over the border now?
My father and brother were shot down by the Plummer boys. I guess you don't know how it feels to lose your folks that way.
My folks were killed by Indians when I was a kid.
Oh, well, that's tough. Well, it's a hard country, especially for a girl.
You have to live no matter what.
That's it. Look, Miss Dallas, you got no folks, neither have I. Maybe I'm crazy to ask you, but, well, I still got a ranch down across the border, and I guess I'm crazy being close to you like this, but...
Ringo, you don't know me. You don't know who I am, or...
I know I want to marry you, Dallas.
Ringo.
That ain't an answer, Dallas.
Oh. Ringo, you can't go to Lordsburg. Not now. The Plummer boys will be 3-1 against you. You'll get killed.
Can't tell.
You can't win.
Can't run away from it either.
How can you talk about our life together when you want to throw your life away?
Well, what do you want me to do?
Get away. I'll follow you.
You mean that, Dallas?
Well, I just can't leave Mrs. Mallory and her baby now, but listen. There's a horse all saddled and ready for you in the corral.
What?
Yeah, there's a rifle in the saddle boot. Now get going. I'll come after you.
I'm counting on that, Dallas, with my life.
Goodbye, Ringo. Watch out for Apaches.
I got a rifle now, and I got you. Don't worry, Dallas. I'll be waiting. Hold it. Whoa! Hold it! Hold it, boy. Easy. Smoke signals on the ridge. Apaches. I gotta warn Dallas and the others. I gotta go back.
Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
On the ridge and on the mesa smoked our Chiricahua fires. Rise, the fires told my nation. Strike the white man's flying wagon. Rise, my kinsmen, rise, Apaches. Chieftains, horsemen, lances, rifles. Stagecoach on the Lordsburg Trail. Thus the signals on the mesa. Thus the writing in the sky. Thus my fierce Apache horsemen follow on the Lordsburg Trail.
We're making good time. I say we're out of danger now, thanks to Ringo here. Very decent of you to come back, Ringo.
I wouldn't be too sure we're out of danger yet, Hatfield.
We'll be in Lordsburg soon, then. Very soon. How's the baby? Sleeping. Doc told me what you did for me. Thank you very much, Dallas.
You know, danger whets my appetite. Indeed it does. Let me see. There must be a bottle of something left in this bag.
A bullet. It just missed your head, Doc.
On the floor, Miss Mallory. Dallas, you and Miss Mallory, get down!
Apaches, hundreds of them.
Hey, Ringo!
Curly's calling you from the driver's seat, Ringo.
Here's your Winchester. Use it, man. Use it.
Thanks. Got my rifle.
Ringo, look out! That Apache on that painted pony.
Got him.
See that engine on that Mustang coming alongside?
Don't talk. Shoot!
Well, now you see him, and now you don't.
You ladies all right?
We're all right.
Now you see him, and now you don't.
Baby, all right?
Yes, baby's all right.
You gentlemen will be good enough to shoot Indians instead of...
Hatfield's been hit.
Get that Apache. I'll help Hatfield.
Got him.
Faster! Drive faster! Fire! Fire! Can't you
Mrs. Mallory. You'll get hurt. Easy, Hatfield, easy.
I could use some more help up here.
Give me your pistol, Doc.
Take it.
Thanks. Look at all those engines.
Apaches all have big families.
Don't talk. Shoot.
I can't. Out of ammunition.
Oh, no. Why have Buck and Curly stopped firing outside?
Buck's hit. Curly's empty, too. This looks like it.
No. I have only 3 bullets left.
That's enough. Indians won't get you or Mrs. Mallory or the baby.
No, they won't. Listen! Get down! No, listen! It's a bugle! Listen!
It's the cavalry from Lordsburg!
The Apaches are breaking! They're running away!
Glory!
How's Hatfield?
Dead. Glory.
Well, good night, Ringo.
Is this where you live in Lordsburg?
I told you. I warned you. I told you didn't know me. This part of town is no place for a nice girl, but it's all right for me. Now say goodbye, Ringo. Say goodbye.
I asked you to marry me, didn't I?
I'll never forget you asked me.
Go on back and wait for me in the stagecoach.
Where are you going?
Business. With the plumber boys. I'll just take a slow walk down Main Street and see what happens.
Dear Lord, this stagecoach don't pass much for a church, but I'm praying to you here. Please, Lord, it's 3-1 against Ringo out there, and the plumber boys are dead shots. Awful dead shots, Lord. Like I was saying, Lord, it's 2-1, Lord. He's all I got, and all I ever want. So please, dear Lord, please let me have him back. Please, please, please.
Oh, carry me back to the lone
prairie. Who's that out there? Ringo!
Yeah.
You hurt?
No.
I prayed for you. I prayed.
You did good.
Let's get out of here, then. Escape.
Don't have to anymore. Before he cashed in, Luke Plummer confessed he killed Jed Michael.
You're free?
Yeah.
And they didn't even hurt you? Dead shots like the plumber boys?
Deadest dead shots you ever saw.
Oh, Ringo.
Dallas, what are you crying for? Nothing's happened.
Thus the story of those brave men, riders of the flying wagon, in the land of Arizona, where Geronimo was chief. In the great land in the desert where the flying wagon galloped, that the white men called the stagecoach, bringing brave men to the west.
Our stars will return in just a moment. the NBC Theater has presented the Screen Directors Guild production of Stagecoach, starring John Wayne, Claire Trevor, and Ward Bond, and introduced by John Ford. In the weeks to come, the Screen Directors Guild will bring you Douglas Fairbanks Jr., Robert Montgomery, Rosalind Russell, James Mason, and Irene Dunn. And next week, the NBC Theater presents screen director Richard Wallace, introducing the current film comedy Let's Live a Little, starring Robert Cummings. And now, here again is our special guest, the president of the Screen Directors Guild, Mr. George Marshall.
The premiere production of the Screen Director's entry into radio has now joined the Stagecoach itself in that great fund of memories known as the past. And speaking for the Guild, I'd like to express our gratitude to the National Broadcasting Company for the opportunity to better acquaint the public with the work and role of the screen director. Take it away, John Ford.
Well, how do you hardy frontiersmen like pioneering in an NBC studio instead of the badlands of Arizona?
Very much. You know, just the memory of that dust is enough to send me running home to wash my hair.
Pappy, this is wonderful.
Wayne, wonderful? What do you mean?
Well, no getting up early in the morning and arguing with a horse.
You know, I think it's wonderful that the screen director is being honored like this. He's the fellow who really makes the movie.
Claire.
As for us actors and actresses, well...
where'd we be without you, Pappy, and others like you?
That's right.
You taught us our business. That's all I can say.
Thanks.
Say, talking about wonderful things, it's a wonder that Pappy here hasn't yet displayed his fine, tyrannical hand.
How do you do? Is that so? Ward, John, now look, as long as we're speaking about fine, tyrannical hands, look, are we going to do this again? Because if so, I'd like to take you folks...
Yeah, I thought so. You'd have something to say about it. We had that same trouble 10 years ago.
That's right.
Hey, can't we go out and reach...
Now, look, John, don't you remember? This is radio. There are no retakes. Good night, everybody.
Our thanks to our stars, John Wayne, Claire Trevor, and Ward Bond, and to screen directors George Marshall and John Ford. Also heard were Barbara Fuller, Peter Leeds, Horace Murphy, Norman Field, Dan Riss, Ken Carson, and Eddie Fields. Tonight's story was adapted by Milton Geiger, and original music was composed and conducted by Henry Russell. Production was under the supervision of Howard Wiley. Your announcer, Frank Barton. John Wayne can soon be seen in John Ford's Argosy production, Three Godfathers, and Claire Trevor appears in the soon-to-be-released Amusement Enterprises picture, The Lucky Stiff. Ward Bond is currently appearing in the Victor Fleming production, Joan of Arc. Listen again next week when the NBC Theater presents...
Screen Directors Guild assignment. Production, Let's Live a Little. Director, Richard Wallace. Star, Robert Cummings.
Don't miss an hour now of America's favorite music, old tunes and new hits over most of these stations. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
Lux presents Hollywood. Lever Brothers Company, the makers of Lux Flakes, bring you the Lux Radio Theater, starring John Wayne, Mel Ferrer, and Marla Powers in She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. Ladies and gentlemen, your producer, Mr. William Keeley.
Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. The history of the United States Cavalry is one of daring, accomplishment, and romance. And in our play tonight, She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, we present a colorful drama from its glorious past. As our stars of the RKO screen success, we present one of the most popular actors of today, John Wayne. And co-starring with him is a very versatile artist, Mel Ferrer, and one of the most beautiful young actresses in Hollywood, Marla Powers. We wish to congratulate John Wayne on receiving the Photoplay Gold Medal Award as the most popular actor of the year, and hope he'll continue to appear in such fine American pictures as John Ford's great production of She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. We know the ladies have always been color conscious, whether it was yellow ribbons in their hair or gay flowered handkerchiefs in their pockets. And they've always depended on Lux Flakes to preserve these colors. And now Lux with Color Freshener is more wonderful than ever. Here's She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, adapted from the famous story by James Warner Bella, starring John Wayne as Captain Brittles, Mel Ferrer as Lieutenant Cohill, and Mala Powers as Olivia Dandridge.
It is 1876. Custer is dead. Custer and over 200 men of the 7th Cavalry. It's more than just a victory for the Indians. It is a signal to unite. Kiowa, Comanche, Arapaho, Sioux, and Apache, united in common war against the United States Cavalry. Our post is far to the south of the Little Bighorn. Fort Stark, isolated, kind of lonely for some, I guess. Anyway, this day started like 1,000 others before it, with Sergeant Quincannon standing in the doorway of my cabin.
Good morning, sir. 542, sir.
541.
And a lovely morning it is, Captain Darwin. Coated in blazes.
News?
As follows, sir. Mrs. Jameson had her baby. The stagecoach run from here to Sudrow's Wells has been discontinued. And there's a dispatch rider in from the Desert Patrol.
Well?
Private Mackenzie got himself shot, sir.
Boy or a girl for Mrs. Jameson?
A little trooper, sir.
When does the stage stop running?
Finished, sir. No more stagecoach, sir.
Mackenzie, is he bad off?
No, sir.
Good man, Quincannon. He'll make corporal in 5 or 6 years.
Yes, sir.
Well, scratch another day off that calendar.
Just 6 more days, Captain Darwin. 6 more days and you're retired, sir.
I am well aware of that, Quincannon.
The Army will never be the same without you, sir.
The Army is always the same. The sun and the moon change, but the Army has no seasons.
But here you are in your prime, sir, and they're turning you out to pasture. That's a willful abuse of the taxpayers' money, sir.
The only tax you ever worried about was on whiskey.
I beg your pardon, sir.
I guess you have a reason for busting in, Mr. Cohill?
Sir, Sergeant Tyree's just entered the post. He's got half the Paradise River Patrol with him, sir, and the paymaster's coach.
Keep talking, mister.
Well, the paymaster's dead, sir. Gunshot wounds. Dead when Tyree found him, sir.
Where?
Near Red Butte, he said, sir. The money box is gone.
Gunshot wound?
Yes, sir. Though the coach is stuck full of arrows, too.
Well, tell Sergeant Tyree to report at once to Major Alshard's quarters. Take over morning inspection, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir.
And tell Tyree to bring one of those arrows with him.
Let me look at that arrow again. You sure it's not Kiowa, Captain?
No, and it's not Comanche nor Arapaho either, Major, not with those color bands.
Sir, with your permission,
All right, Tyree, put in your 2 cents worth.
Well, sir, these arrows with the yellow, white, and red bands are the signs of the Southern Cheyenne.
And I've seen bannocks and snakes with the same color.
Yes, sir, but looking at the clan mark, this mark right here, it's the sign of the dog.
And tell me, what in blazes would Cheyenne be doing this far south?
That ain't my department, sir.
Alert the post, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
And get some rest.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Nathan, any ideas?
I'll go out in the morning, pick up the patrols, and drive those Cheyenne back where they belong.
Let me think on it, Nathan. I'll let you know later.
Day wore on. Now, life within a post isn't all spit and polish. Take Lieutenant Pennell, for instance, and the Major's niece. Pennell's got a buckboard, and it's a fine day for a drive. Only he's having a little trouble at the gate.
You heard me, Mr. Pennell. The post is on alert. Nobody's leaving the ground.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Cohill.
You heard me. Sorry to spoil your outing, Miss Dandridge.
Sorry, indeed. Because I wouldn't trust you to take me on a picnic last Sunday. Now you're hazing Mr. Pennell.
You just drive right on through, Ross. If you don't, I will.
You touch those reins and I'll slap you in the guardhouse.
You wouldn't dare.
Someone placing you under arrest, Miss Dandridge?
It's Lieutenant Cohill, Captain. He suddenly decided that he can order me around.
Sir, I was merely following
I
orders.
believe you interrupted the lady, Mr. Cohill.
He certainly did. Now, I don't want to make a scene, Captain. But First Lieutenant Cohill has made up his mind that Second Lieutenant Pennell hasn't rank enough to be seen in my company.
Sir, if I You're interrupting.
Yes, sir.
Any further complaint, Miss Dandridge?
Complaint? Oh, I'm not complaining, Captain.
Aha. Mr. Cohill, wipe that grin off your face and state your case.
Sir, I have denied Mr. Pennell permission to leave the post.
And for what purpose did you wish to leave the post, Mr. Pennell?
Picnicking, sir.
Picnicking? Miss Dandridge? Where? In St. Louis?
Oh, no, sir. Just up by the waterfall, sir. But I'm sorry.
Never apologize, mister. It is a sign of weakness. Mr. Cohill, I see no reason why Mr. Pennell should not go picnicking.
Very good, sir.
Thank you, Captain.
But Miss Dandridge, Mr. Cohill was quite right in denying you permission to leave under the present emergency. If you will be so kind as to get out of the buckboard.
Oh, but really...
Your arm, ma'am. Thank you. Mr. Pennell, you may proceed with your picnic. This way, Miss Dandridge.
Ask Lieutenant Pennell.
Yes, sir.
Where'd you say you were holding your picnic?
I'll tell you where. At Delmonico's in New York about 2 months from now. With Olivia, see? And I won't be wearing any blue suit either, bub. Get it!
The major sent for me early that evening. He had made up his mind.
I guess there's no other course to take, Nathan. Find those Cheyennes and push them back. Oh, by the way, here's the last report on Custer's outfit. 212 men, Nathan. Headquarters expects a hard and bloody winter. Sitting Bull preaching a holy war. I want you to take every precaution.
These names. George Armstrong Custer. Tom Custer. Boston Custer. Calhoun. Cook.
Yes, I expect you knew most of them.
I expect I did. Harrington. Keogh. Miles Keogh. Yes, Mac. A hard and bloody winter.
Oh, Nathan, those flowers over there, Abby picked them. She thought maybe for Mary's grave.
Oh, well, I was figuring to stop by there now and...
Yes, I know. Never miss a day, do you?
Oh, thank her for me, will you, Mac? They're real pretty flowers. 9 years, Mac. 9 years last month. Here, Abby, are from Mary. She raised them herself. Well, only 6 more days to go, and your old Nathan will be out of the Army. Haven't decided what I'll do yet. Somehow, I just can't picture myself back there on the banks of the Wabash, rocking on a front porch. No, I've been thinking that maybe I'd push on west to the new settlements in California. Anyway, I'm taking the troops out in the morning. Some Cheyennes around, so I pick up the patrols and drive them back north. My last mission, Mary. Hard to believe, isn't it? My last...
I hope I'm not intruding, Captain.
Why, no, ma'am, not at all. I was just...
I know. I've watched you come out here so many times. I'm sorry I made such a fool of myself this morning.
You made a fool out of a couple of young lieutenants. That's never against Army regulations.
Then I'm forgiven?
You're forgiven.
Thank you, Captain. Good night.
Good night, Miss Dandridge. She's a nice girl, Mary. She reminds me of you. At dawn, the troop was mounted and ready to leave, till Sergeant Quincannon came up driving a wagon. Just what do you think you're up to, Quincannon? Get out of that wagon.
Begging your pardon, Captain Darlin, it's orders. Major's orders.
Orders?
Yes, sir, yes, sir. I'd best be seeing about them side saddles, too, sir.
Side saddles? Are you trying to tell me? I'll be at Major Alshard's quarters. All right, Eddie.
Now, hold
on, Nathan. Hold on. I know.
What in blazes does this mean? Side saddles, a covered wagon filled with women's junk. I can't hamper this patrol with a wagon, particularly this patrol.
Nathan, I'm sending my wife and niece with you.
What?
They're to go as far as Sudrow's Wells and take the stage east from there. This is an order.
I want to protest that order.
I expected you would. There's pen and paper, so put it in writing.
I intend to.
I sat up half the night with this, Nathan. I can't keep Olivia here. She ain't army.
I'll say she ain't. For the following reason.
You want some coffee?
No. Yes. One, there is a party of Cheyenne raiding this territory.
I have a feeling that every woman will...
How many R's are there in territory?
2.
Oh.
Here, here's your coffee. Poor Abby. She says everyone will think she's running away. And what about me? I'll be a bachelor all right.
And in conclusion, I respectfully protest the decision of my commanding officer to saddle this troop with his female relations.
1 L in relation.
At this critical hour. Signed, Nathan Briddles, and so forth.
It sounds very good, Nathan. I'll be glad to file it. Oh, believe me, I hate to hamstring you this way, but you will take every precaution.
Of course he will, dear. And how did marching through Georgia take the idea of old Iron Pants riding with him?
Under protest, Abby.
Written protest, Abby, of course. It's always my pleasure to escort old Iron Pants. Well, as long as you're going along with us. Abby, that is the dad-blamedest outfit I ever did see. Quincannon's old britches.
A little baggy, I suppose, Nathan, but they'll do for the trail.
Now, where's Olivia? Is she ready?
She's been ready for an hour. She's probably outside with one of your lieutenants.
Well, kiss the old man of yours and say goodbye. Time we get out of here.
And I hope you approve of my uniform, Mr. Cohill.
It's very becoming, ma'am. And I notice you're wearing a yellow ribbon.
Well?
For Fennell, huh?
How do you know it isn't for you, mister?
I'd be very happy if it were for me. Very happy indeed.
Morning.
Trooper Dandridge reporting, sir.
Well, and a proper trooper, too, and right pretty, don't you think, Mr. Cohill?
I do indeed, sir.
And a yellow ribbon, Miss Dandridge. Do you know what that means in the cavalry? A sweetheart.
It does?
Who's it for?
Why, for you, Captain, of course.
For me, huh? I'll make these young bucks jealous yet.
I brought your mount, Olivia. May I help you?
Thank you, Mr. Pennell.
I hope you're wearing that yellow ribbon for me, ma'am.
Why, who else would it be for?
Hurry up, Aunt Abby. They'll be leading without it.
So we left the post. Just another routine mission. Folks waving goodbye, kids yelling, dogs barking. Only one thing in particular caught my eye. As we rode past the store, I saw Mr. Reinders, the sutler, in the back of the stable. He was hitching up his buckboard. Some hours later on the trail.
Sergeant Tyree reporting, sir.
At ease, Tyree.
Well, like you told me, sir, I took cover till Reinders left the post. I've been trailing him ever since. He went southeast, Captain, about a mile below the painted pole. There's 2 men waiting for him in a wagon.
You recognize them?
No, sir. And it didn't seem prudent to inquire.
Now, what do you suppose they were doing that far south, and why did Mr. Reinders leave the post in the first place?
He's a storekeeper, sir.
That's right, licensed to sell merchandise to folks all over this territory. Only the post was on alert, Mr. Tyree, so I ask you again. What do you suppose Mr. Reinders and 2 strangers were doing that far south?
Well, sir, I reckon that ain't my department, sir.
Yeah. Take a point, Tyree. We'll probably pick 'em up on the next go-around.
Romantic, isn't it, Miss Dandridge? Guidons gaily fluttering, bronze men lustily singing, horses prancing, and bunions aching.
Must you always be so vulgar, Mr. Cohill?
The cavalry doesn't go in for refinements, Miss Dandridge.
Cavalry? This ridiculous business of dismounting and walking every hour or so. You might as well be in the infantry.
We soon would be if we didn't ease these mounts. Why don't you ride in a wagon with Mrs. Allshard?
No, thank you. And if you don't mind, I'd like permission to ride back along the line.
Why?
If you must know, I'd rather share the dust back there with Mr. Pennell.
Haven't you already thrown enough dust in Pennell's eyes? Why don't you give him a chance?
Mr. Cohill.
Yes, sir?
Relieve Mr. Pennell with the rear guard.
Yes, sir.
Everything under control here, miss?
Thank you, Captain. Everything's just fine.
An hour later, Tyree found something he wanted me to see. I told Cohill, Pennell, and the bugler to tag along. Far off against the hills, a long, low cloud of dust was rising.
Traveling the same direction we are, sir. Toward Sudrow's well.
Can you make 'em out, Sergeant?
Looks like the Rappos, sir.
Field glasses, Mr. Pennell.
Yes, sir.
They're moving the whole village, wagons, lodgings, and all.
Yeah. Tyree, I don't know where you got your brains, but God must have given you that pair of eyes. They're Arapahoes, all right, heading the same way we are. Now, why would they be moving on Sudrow's wells?
My mother didn't raise no sons to be making guesses in front of a Yankee captain, sir.
Well, I'd soon find out if... there's no use even thinking about it. We can't risk it with these women.
Arapahoes?
Yes, Mr. Cohill, and I don't like it. So we'll turn east, gentlemen. Give them a wide berth.
But we'll lose half a day that way, sir.
The ladies may miss the stage, sir.
Would you rather that they missed their scalp, sir? Get back to the column, both of you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir.
Oh, shut up. By late afternoon, we reached the canyon country. With any luck, we'd be at Sudrow's wells by morning.
Thought you didn't like the wagon, Miss Dandridge.
You don't have to shout, Mr. Cohill. My aunt's trying to take a nap.
Well, I've only got one thing to say to you. Why don't you take your hooks out of Ross Pennell? He's got the makings of a good officer.
You are not his guardian, nor mine, Mr. Cohill.
Well, I'm telling you just the same. Ross is a spoiled rich kid, and the Army's his only chance. So if you can't take the Army, leave him alone.
Just before dusk, we reached the rim of a valley. And down below was a sight that likes of which I hadn't seen in years.
Why, they're buffaloes, sir.
I admire your intelligence, Mr. Cohill. First time the herd's been this far south since the summer of '68. That right, Quincannon?
Correct, sir. It looks just like the good old days, sir. Buffalo meat and whiskey at 50 cents a gallon, sir.
You ever see a buffalo, Mr. Pennell?
No, sir.
Well, I doubt if the ladies have either. You may escort them as far as those rocks. The view might please them.
Thank you, sir.
And what you're thinking, Mr. Tyree? And don't tell me it ain't in your department.
Well, Captain,